new era for American cricket began in 2021.
There he goes into a dive! What a catch!
The rise of cricket was celebrated across the country. Now, with big wickets and even bigger hits, the stars of minor league cricket are back and better than ever.
Primus goes huge!
Don't miss the nation's largest league competing for the biggest prize in American cricket. The Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship returns June 25th.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
Suhas Vedam. Suhas, good morning. Happy to have you aboard yet again.
Very good morning, Joe. Very good morning to all of the viewers. What a game we have on our hands. It is stretched to Sunday, and it's going to be a Sunday bonanza. Second ball from Kulvinder. Driven through, will get that single. This would mentally settle him a little more compared to the previous shot. And just after the previous shot, you saw how the slip was also moved a little wider.
Certainly trying to defend against a ball that was just flicked off the bat, the very edge of the bat of the left-hander Saad Ali, who began on strike. A 4 to get things underway. It is, as you mentioned, Kulvinder Singh starting with ball in hand. A bit of a change from yesterday when Saurabh Netravalkar took it from the Barrett Avenue end. We're beginning from the San Pedro end of the ground here on a slightly windy, cool morning here in Morgan Hill. That'll bring Prithvish Patel on strike for the first time today. Kulvinder, the lefty, around the wicket with the prodigious swing, and that one coming in towards the stumps and defended well by Prithvish. A lot of movement on that one in the air.
There is some great movement indeed. Unmukh Chand winning the toss and deciding to field first. He talked about the fact that the pitch doesn't change much. He also had in mind that the ball will swing early on. He wants to make the most of it by giving it to Kulvinder Singh. It had to be either Kulvinder Singh or his partner in crime, Saurabh Netravalkar. Kulvinder Singh has decided to go ahead with it, also because it's starting from San Pedro end.
Still around the wicket, another one targeting the stumps, and that one again defended right back to Kulvinder.
Every single ball is being cheered over here. That's the magnitude of the game. That's the gravity of the game. This shall decide the advancement of either of the side.
And may well be the only deciding game we have here in this first round. We'll talk a bit about what else is going on throughout minor league cricket. But first, paying attention to this delivery. That's in the air, but not quite long enough. Won't carry to Gary Graham at the covers.
Yeah, either of the sides. Who do you think would be more itchy to get there? Silicon Valley Strikers who've already been there, done that, or Chicago Tigers who've got the world buzzing with a tremendous win last evening?
I would imagine after last night's game, if I'm a Chicago Tigers player or fan, I would have liked to have started Game 3 right then. I think the night to sleep in between, maybe playing a little bit of havoc with them as this continues. Another dot ball here to finish that end of the over. 5 from it, 5 for no loss.
1, 2, 3.
First over from the Barrett Avenue end will indeed be Saurabh Netravalkar's. Comes into play this weekend with a 3.5 economy inside the power play. He has shown exactly what he's capable of in the last couple of games. As well, had a maiden to get started in Game 2. A match that went the distance and then some yesterday, Suhas, after a resounding victory for Silicon Valley in Game 1. Quite the shift in narrative in Game 2.
Absolutely, Joe. In fact, the contrast of the two games is what keeps us pinned to the chairs to watch this one as well.
25 for what? No, exactly. We had no idea what to expect from this game after seeing two such different encounters.
Saurabh Netravalkar is going to be coming in with the wind, and that will be a challenge for the batters. Be interesting to see how they cope with that. Perhaps that was the reason Kulvinder was given an over, because they were starting from San Pedro and the wind was blowing against it. But Kulvinder still did a decent job holding the opposition down to 5 without a wicket in the first one.
Indeed, even the 4 on the first ball, a bit of luck there, which we saw a decent bit of for Chicago yesterday in the second game. Narsingh Deonarayan in as a slip as the first ball comes from Saurabh Netravalkar. That grounded towards Dev Thadani. Not a clean pickup, but they will scamper back. No run taken.
It's important to handle the nerves as a youngster as well. You will feel that reassurance when you're playing a big game of this kind, do or die. When you see the bigger one, the senior pros around you. As far as Chicago Tigers are concerned, Calvin was absolutely clear during the toss that we want at least 150 on the board and we trust our batting to get there. We would have liked to bowl first if we would have won the toss as well. That's what Calvin had to say. It's just towards the right of a diving Shehan. Second line of defense would be Lendl Simmons and his lovely throwing arm. Single, but with a lot of drama indeed.
Single there for Saad Ali, and Prithvish Patel looking to get himself off the mark. Face the final 4 deliveries from Kulvinder. Unable to score there, Singh. Very accurate. A lot of motion from him. Netravalkar looking to play some havoc with the right-handed hitter here. A lefty-righty combination to start for the Chicago Tigers.
That's in the air, but will land safely. Would have had his heart in his mouth, and he's also calling for the second. The second is definitely on. Look at that throw arriving so late. Kulvinder Singh had to get around the ball and not run towards it directly. That was enough time to cover 44 yards.
Yeah, perhaps not the most confident-looking stroke, but placed in exactly the right spot. Over the head of Thadani and well wide of Kulvinder.
Saurabh Netravalkar has already realized that there's so much to be interested about bowling into this surface. That was half an opportunity. I don't think, Joe, that the batter was in control while he played that shot. Look at him tease the outside edge on this occasion, Saurabh Netravalkar. Narsingh Deonarayan is not standing at the regular slips position. He's standing between the first slip and the second slip position in terms of convention. So somewhere in the middle there. Just enough room for Rahul Jariwala to dive towards his right if need be in case of an edge. And Narsingh Deonarayan to be interested as well to dive towards his left so that the ball does not go in between them. It's an interesting ploy, especially given the fact that Saurabh Netravalkar is running in at an angle to generate that outside edge. Walked away, better and in control. This will go to the fence. More stylish this time around and more productive too.
Certainly no edge that time around. One ball remaining in this first Netravalkar over. More productive one so far here. Prithvish Patel seeing the ball a little bit better. Comes in with a 19.2 average on the season. Has been striking at 153, although that is in the last handful of, or excuse me, that's for the season. Last handful of games, a bit more productive against spin than he has been against pace, but looking relatively comfortable here against Netravalkar so far. Of course, that can change in a flash. Final ball of the second. That'll be flared over towards point. No run on there. That will end over number 2. 12 for no loss.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom.
Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Continue from the San Pedro end of the ground. 12 for no loss through the first 2 overs, going at exactly a run a ball.
Bright and sunny here in Morgan Hill, and it's supposed to stay the same. The reason we're reiterating that on our broadcast is that, well, this was close. Rahul Jariwala tried his best there. Rahul Jariwala, it's an understatement to say that he's been good enough as a keeper. He's been tremendous indeed. And sometimes a keeper slips under the radar and does not get praise because he's only noticed when he commits a mistake. It's that kind of a job.
No, absolutely. He and I imagine the umpire at the other end of the wicket sharing that sort of existence. But for Jariwala, you get noticed when you're on the top of the leaderboards, and fielding-wise, he's been all over that this season. Came into the weekend second in dismissals, is now leading that particular chart, 26, 5 of them just yesterday. We saw a stumping, handful of caught behinds. He was very active out there, always chirpy, always going to make you know that he's there. And I do wonder how much of that is aimed at his teammates and how much perhaps at the batter. Certainly when the stump mics were in place, it sounded like it was largely the teammates. Maybe he was on his best behavior.
Went at it with hard hands. Still will have enough time to get that single. Gary with a one-handed pickup. As stylish as it looks. Prithvish Patel was able to scamper for a single and Saad Ali responds so beautifully. This is good cricket all around. High-octane action is what we promised from Morgan Hill, and that's what you will get. And we've talked about this being bright and sunny because in many parts of the world, the same league being played, we would be extremely happy to see the Sun play hide and seek. Here it is in full glory.
No doubt, the Atlanta Fire Manhattan Yorkers series cut short. Atlanta with the victory by DLS yesterday, and that ends up being sufficient to carry them through as the outfield unplayable this morning, even as they hoped to make things up.
That one had a little bit more bounce on it. Once again, a point to make a mental note of. If he can make a mental note of that spot, Joe, I think he'll be pitching in time and again there. But he's got to be a little careful of using that angle with the wind. Reason being, the ball will sway away from the left-hander. That can create problems with a diving Jariwala.
Well, and Suhas, we talked a little bit before the game to Narsingh Deonarine about the condition of the pitch, and particularly he thought he saw a few ridges in there that might allow the ball to take off here and there during the course of the game.
So far from the shots that have been offered, to be very honest, looks like he could just hit through the line. I just love that extra bounce that Kulvinder Singh is generating. There's something in it for the bowlers too, and that is such a treat to watch. Usually in the shorter format of the game, we're so accustomed to seeing those big sixes and fours, especially with players like Lendl Simmons going bonkers.
Well, there may be time for that yet.
But what I like about this is, again, just drives it through the line. Direct hit. That looks good on camera for sure. Saad Ali makes it just in time. Unmukt Chand walking away. It's all in a day's play. He doesn't steal the limelight. Never.
Well, back on July 3rd when these two teams met, Chand had a beautiful direct hit from the outfield that, in fact, dismissed Prithvish Patel. This time around targeting Saad Ali at the other end, but you know what he's capable of. And I think that little jump throw from him is the sort of thing that Jariwala, a shortstop by trade, would recognize absolutely. That had some Derek Jeter aspects to it.
Very well done. You could see the intent from Kulvinder, sticking his hand out and ensuring that the single is negated in mind, let alone in execution. A dot ball to end the over. 3 overs gone, 15 for no loss.
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Saurabh Netravalkar will continue from the Barrett Avenue end of the ground. Reminder here, Silicon Valley Strikers, if you have not been following along on Cricket Clubs, won the toss, elected to bowl for the third straight time, which is a massive change to what they've done strategically throughout the season. They'd only elected to bowl once throughout the regular season. That said, they've been pretty good regardless of how they go about things. 9-1 on the season when batting first, 5-1 when chasing. Chicago, for their side, 5-3 now on the season when chasing. Their average first inning score, 157. Yesterday, a little bit harder sledding, though.
At the toss, when Unmukt Chand won the toss, he just decided to bowl first, and I sort of could feel that he believes that this side can chase. It's done it before. They've got a world-class batting lineup, and they believe to do it come the big day. As far as the Tigers are concerned, runs on the board is what they're aiming at. And they've started off in a solid manner. Well, as we say that, a miscommunication. Had that been a direct hit, would have been curtains for Prithvish Patel, who probably would have continued that run all the way to the pavilion.
We talk sometimes about runners or batters being caught in two minds. There were at least 3 or 4 out there on that occasion. A lot of indecision, and finally the call to come back. And yeah, very, very lucky that did not find timber.
What I also like is the fact that the players on the offside especially The fielders are not at the edge of the 30-yard circle. They're coming in as with a start to absorb that pressure and at the same time be able to move on either side with a little momentum you get when you get a start and try and stop that single which so dearly Saad Ali is looking for. Just like that, places it towards the right of Shehan Jayasuriya. Has hurt himself in the process. That's more concerning for strikers. The second run is also on. The throw is perfect as it gets from Lendl Simmons. Boy, there's so much of action to unpack.
Concern inside the fan area to our left as Jayasuriya does get back to his feet. Doesn't seem to be that much worse for it at the moment, but collecting things. Looks like he's grabbing at his abdominal area. In fact, I thought maybe a leg injury of some sort, but perhaps a bit too much of a stretch there.
Seems to be okay enough to continue. Seems to be okay enough to continue without any medical assistance. That is, he's just a couple of stretches and all set to field the next one.
It does look like he's working at the oblique on his left side. That could be a tricky thing for batting, although it does help that he's a left-hander.
Oh, what a delivery. There was something on it. Would you believe it? That extra bit of bounce from Saurabh Netravalkar as well. And the angle is such that the room gets cut in half by the time you have to negotiate the delivery as a batter. This is terrific cricket.
We'll notice here, not looking quite as much for the edge, except the very, very thinnest of edges back to Jadiwala. The slip no longer in place. Looking to restrict the singles, as you said before. This Chicago team worked a lot of quick singles, a lot of quick twos in yesterday's encounter in the second game, and that, at the end of the day, proved to be decisive. Needed every single one of them to keep that match going.
Saurabh Netravalkar, who's just delivered a beauty. Saad Ali has decided to go inside out. It has enough to clear the infield for sure. Work to do for the captain. Just enough to keep it in place. Saad wants a third as well. He's pushing Prithvish Patel, and Prithvish gets there despite a direct hit.
Unmukt Chand right now, absolutely with laser sights on that right arm. He has hit the timber twice in the first 3 overs, just a little bit late. The aim is true, the timing, not quite just yet.
Now that we have the zinger bails and the zinger stumps, it's a great visual cue as well when exactly it hits.
I'm sure something umpires appreciate, having that go off in your peripheral vision as you're trying to watch for the bat being grounded, not just having to listen for a sound.
Absolutely, Joe. Very well said. And also because it's a visual cue with a bright red light, you can just look at it. You can just concentrate on one thing and be rest assured that you will get the other right. Mostly it's a dragging of the bat. Sometimes wonder how difficult is it to be an umpire. The reason being, bowler is coming in at a great speed, especially a pacer. You have to look at the front leg, of course, where exactly it lands, and then look up and be as steady as possible to be gauging the line. Oh, Rahul Jariwala has put one down, and it's taken him many a game to try and do this. He's also hurt himself in the process. That's more concerning. Now, he was looking 100% when he started off, but now it's more concerning as he's taken his inner gloves off as well.
Recall yesterday had one come up and bite him in the shoulder. He has been taking some abuse back there, especially when he's come up from to the stumps. This time around, just not quite able to judge the deflection off the bat, and having that get a unfortunate part of his hand.
Concern from the captain right away, Unmukt Chand. Concern from Srinivas Raghavan. Rahul Jariwala. I think the words from Unmukt Chand would be, are you good enough to continue at this moment? Do you want to push ahead? Reason being, he'll be a very handy batter too later on. I don't think there's anybody who can probably fill his boots in terms of the keeping prowess that's required in a game of this gravity.
Earlier this season, I think the one game where they have not had Jadiwala behind the wickets, it was actually Unmukt Chand putting on the gloves.
And he did a tremendous job taking that catch towards his right, didn't he? But given an option, Unmukt Chand wouldn't keep. He's done that so many times back in India as well. It's just that it allows the team an option to play that extra bowler. Anything for the side. Now, Rahul Jariwala is writhing in pain, but he would be telling himself as well, anything for the side. There's a lot more on the line. 10 pain is what he'd be reminding himself. At the moment, it's stoppage in play because of an injury to Rahul Jariwala.
Additionally, the fourth over at an end. 20 for no loss as we continue to monitor the condition of the Silicon Valley Strikers wicketkeeper.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
Jariwala remains in the game. We have seen intensity from both sides, intent from the batters, and as you've noted, Suhas, a lot of charging in the infield to make sure that you're ready to cut off singles. Just a very high level of cricket, a high level of passion and intensity here in a game that is so important. A trip to the finals weekend on the line.
Was going to be there in Morrisville. Dave Tadani's decided to roll his arm over. The captain wants some skiddy pace to be offered to the opponents. Chicago Tigers have looked solid. Just love the way they've got to 32. It's been eventful indeed. We were discussing that. 20 for no loss.
Sorry, playing a little trick on Suhas by mistake here.
I got pranked. I just got pranked in the commentary box. I just realized that.
I was just taking a look to see if the other game was actually taking place, and indeed, Seattle and Dallas look like they are going to get in that deciding game as a chance of the field there. An attempt at a direct hit. We've already seen 2 from Unmukt Chand. Graham trying to add his name to that.
Prithvish Patel and Saad Ali, they're taking singles which should not be called singles. It's literally stealing the run. They're just challenging the arm of everyone inside the 30-yard circle. Doesn't really matter who it is. Unmukt Chand has stepped up a couple of times. Lendl Simmons is just delivering the ball, careering it just in line for someone like Jariwala to collect and whip the bails off. And now this is Gary, who's had a couple of shies at the stunts, but he's missed timber so often now that he would believe the third time would be very lucky. Now, Prithvish Patel, someone who's making 22 yards look like 100 at times, just so that everyone has a heart attack. Here is Dev. That's gone up in the air, but will it be taken? Circling beneath it, that will land safely and also have enough fuel to reach the fence. Prithvish Patel gets 4 more, and positive batting, positive attitude. That's coming through.
Oh, absolutely a big swing on that one, and if you get enough force behind it, even the edges can carry over the head of the man at over there at fine leg. Again, that intent being the big thing, whether it's with the legs or with the bat.
Absolutely, Joe. And Dave needs to put that behind and realize that it's a very streaky boundary. This one's more in control and almost does reach the fence, but there is a wall there. Shehan Jayasuriya picks up the ball so early. It's very difficult when it's hit flat like that. Scooting towards his right and also putting to rest any doubts if he's 100% or no.
No, absolutely. That throw definitely has you feeling good about his core muscles. That's not something that just happens from your arm. That's a full body sort of laser that he just brought in to the infield.
Joe, a boundary has been achieved in this over. Looking at it from Saad Ali's perspective, who's trying to anchor an innings and try and pilfer a single and convert it into twos, what do you think would be the right approach to this particular over? Does he target Dev, or does he say, we've got the runs required in this over, let Prithvish Patel go for the big shots, let me stick around?
I think you just kind of try to read it on length at this point. If it's there to hit, go for it, but otherwise try and take it easy. That one may have been not quite the one to take that big of a hoik at. A little bit of luck gracing him as it heads back to third man. They take the single.
Absolutely, Joe, and also love the fact that Dave is learning so quickly. It was deliberately bowled a little slower. For a batter who's expecting more pace on it, Dave can be a skiddy customer, and sometimes when you're a skiddy customer and a pacey bowler, the slower delivery becomes your better friend.
And Dev's somebody who had felt like 3 different lives yesterday. A very confident run-a-ball performance in the first game. Second game went for big runs at the beginning and then locked down toward the end. This one's in the air. Could be taken. Is taken. The captain and Mukchand settles under it. And Prithvish Patel, after the 4 early, has not had a happy ending to this over.
Dave Tadani strikes. Answers the call of duty. Unmukhchand gets the simplest of the pouches that he's ever got. That's the end of Prithvish Patel, who went for 1 shot too many in the over. A couple of times was never in control. One of them, which he did get from the middle of the bat, did not get the boundary for it. Tried it for the 3rd time and only ended up in the hands of Unmukhchand. Very good catch indeed, under pressure.
Patel going for 12, the 2 4s in his short innings, but Chicago Tigers, much like yesterday, kind of in that run-a-ball zone. Not a team that generally accelerates out of the gate from the power play. 44 for 2, the average. We do have our new batter coming to the crease. It will be the standard number 3, the South African Marcus Ackerman.
Marcus Ackerman didn't have a game to remember with the bat in hand. A couple of games that he had yesterday, in fact. Today would want to turn it around come the big day. Chicago Tigers, everything on the line for them. The only thing that I believe would sort of help the strikers at this stage is the fact that they've been there before, they've done it before, and hence know how to handle the nerves. So that's one of the interesting things that I was interested that I wanted to see is how Unmukhchand handles Dave Tadani, the youngsters, because they haven't been in this situation before in the eye of the storm. Yes, Dave was there last year too, but in the eye of the storm, now they are the ones taking wickets too. So I love the transformation that this team is going through. As far as the Tigers are concerned, they have come out with all guns blazing. Yes, they've lost a wicket. It'll be interesting to see how Ackerman starts off as well. Does he go back into the shell, or does he forget what happened yesterday and continue and believe that it's a matter of 1 good shot from the middle of the bat, Joe?
Well, I imagine to your point regarding the bowlers too, the bowlers, young or old for Silicon Valley, have to feel pretty good about their performance yesterday. They're not looking for a comeback quite the way the batters will be after that second game.
That's an excellent point indeed, because the bowlers did do their job. That should have been chased down in hindsight, is what Silicon Valley strikers would believe. End of the over. 5 overs gone, 28 for 1.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Final ball of the power, or final over rather, of the power play. It's going to be spin. Pranay Surrey from the Barrett Avenue end, and Surrey with a player of the match performance in the first game yesterday, took 3 wickets, has been very much in the wickets as of late after a small drought following the flurry earlier about mid-season.
What does he inherit today? 28 for 1 in 5 overs. Pranay Surrey.
It's looking a little more like Game 2's power play than Game 1's, and we have another player down for the Silicon Valley Strikers, somewhat away from the ball. Looks like a step was taken and then immediately collapsing to the ground. Is that UC?
Now that is Srinivas Raghavan. Srinivas Raghavan's not looking good, because there goes 4 overs for Silicon Valley Strikers if he doesn't get up in time. We had a couple of stops in this game because of injury concerns. First, it was Rahul Jariwala, who looks all right to continue, which is a great blessing for Silicon Valley Strikers. Now, one of their better bowlers, Srinivas Raghavan, especially on a track of this kind, is already down. Doesn't look good. Looks like he's hobbling off as well. Doesn't look good. If he cannot continue his services on the field, then Unmukt Chand's now calculating who's going to give me those 4 overs or 3 overs at least.
Well, the solution may well be 2 overs each, perhaps, from Unmukt himself and Shahan Jayasuriya. Both of them spin bowlers, part-timers, not used a ton, but they both have bowled this season.
Now, Shahan Jayasuriya back in Seattle was something else altogether with a ball in hand, but come here with a different track and the game with greater magnitude, you want your 100% all the time. Now, suddenly you're robbed of your resources that you want to put as 11 on the field. Would be a major concern for Unmukt Chand and co. The Tigers would want to believe that this is the time that they up the ante. Imagine if they target one of the bowlers over here and already a bowler shot, Unmukt Chand will have more headaches to handle. Saad Ali can do that. He is a lovely player of spin bowling. Not questioning his prowess in terms of pace, facing pace as well. That stylish stroke that he hit for 4 in the Super Over was so gleefully deposited. Any connoisseur of cricket would love that indeed.
Yeah, we were all getting ready for a big dramatic finish and some tight action trying to squeeze out singles, and instead he got all the runs necessary to tie the score on 1 shot. And suddenly the air was slightly let out of this balloon. That one in the air, but no one in that vicinity. That'll go for 4.
Very well fielded by Jayant, but beyond the boundary rope. He's got to do a bit more to be finding himself inside it with the same jersey. Very well played. Saad Ali just ensuring that if he gets the width, will go over the top. That's what we talked about. Him playing a lot of mind games and being excellent while playing spin. That is reassurance. That single is easy reassurance to his side that he wants to play a longer innings. And it's also a statement sent to the opposition that after a boundary, if he picks up a single, he's going to be the anchor. And 2 left-handers trying to string a partnership together for the Tigers. This one kept low. Still gets that single despite picking the lone man inside the circle, the 30 yards. Just tells you how ready Saad Ali is at the non-strikers end to try and pick up a single, Joe.
Well, and continuing to see that intent that we saw yesterday in the second game to make sure you get every possible run. This Silicon Valley Strikers team, we know they can hit. They've shown it time and again. Yesterday, Narsingh Deonarayan told us didn't quite go as hard as they needed to through the middle overs, let that one lag longer than it needed to, and then got very, very tight down the stretch. That will do it for this over. Another single to finish it, 36 for 1.
1, 2, 3.
Beginning of the 7th over, fielding restrictions released here for the Silicon Valley Strikers. It'll be Dev Thadani continuing from the San Pedro end, that 36 for 1 here at the end of the power play. A little bit below the average this season for Chicago Tigers, but rather close to what they were sitting at yesterday in the second game that they eventually did tie and then win in the super overs. So on that same pace, importantly for them, just the 1 wicket down.
Someone who's bloomed and blossomed of late in this wonderful setup of Silicon Valley Strikers is Dev Thadani. And he's already picked up a wicket, and it's the lone wicket that his team itself has picked up so far. As far as the Tigers are concerned, they've done a decent job indeed. 36 for 1 come the big game. Now will they apply more pressure by taking Dev on? The Tigers, they've decided to go full throttle. Straight into the hands of the sweeper. Ensure that it's a single only.
That'll bring Ackerman on strike. Got a big backlift, really quick hands, very effortless power in the chances that I've had to see him in action. Somebody very active with the feet. Doesn't matter whether he's going to move laterally to try to get a line he likes better, coming forward to try to get to the pitch of the ball, especially when dealing with spin rather. Boy, oh boy, a clean pickup there from Graham, and there might have been some trouble between the wickets. Ackerman aggressively looking to take that single. Saad Ali maybe even more aggressive. Shot out of a cannon from the non-striker's end.
Also because Ackerman's hit it so hard, it went quickly to Graham.
Would have been a tough throw from there. Might have had 1.5 stumps to throw at, but if anybody's capable.
It's the third time Graham's missed as well.
That one into the gap, and that will get through in front of the pavilion. Shehan Jayasuriya not able to chase that down. Relatively fine long off being played at the moment. And that gets through for 4.
You'll get a lot of style when Saad Ali gets going, especially as he leans through the drives. He's one of the best cut shot players in the entire league. Ade Tadani's response here. It's just bowled it straight, and that's good enough on that occasion. Didn't bounce as much, which was more troublesome to Jariwala, as much as the batter himself who threw the bat at it. Jariwala is also being tested because one moment he's on his hunches, the other moment he has to jump and collect it at a different height altogether. Look at this one, ankle height. It's getting better and better.
That's why it's so very important that he seems to have the health to continue here. Not that Unmukhchand has anything to sneeze at back there behind the wickets, but like to still have him in the outfield chasing things down and looking for direct hits. That one down the leg side did not catch any pad. That'll be a wide.
Now Dave Tadani has got to learn quickly to apply pressure, especially when a boundary has already been given away. A wide will just make things easier for Chicago Tigers. They wouldn't mind this at all. Run being added without a ball being counted. When 2 set batters are out there, no problemo. Saad Ali looks up so late. That generates the edge. Work to do for Kulwinder, who will delay the dive. The ball will reach the fence. The second boundary in the over. Dave Tadani's over is being taken apart at the moment.
Syed Saad Ali looking really good out there at the moment now. That's his 4th boundary, 2nd of the over, as he pushes up near 30 runs already.
What an over this has been. Beautifully driven for 4 was Dave Tadani as he pitched it up. A wide in between, a run-out chance, and now a thickish edge reaching the fence. That was deliberate too, to be honest. That edge was also deliberate. Went at it with hard hands because he saw that the third man is as square as it gets. Once the second run, Shehan Jayasuriya probably playing with the non-striker. At the moment was Saad Ali who played this shot. Will take strike. 48 for 1 at the end of 7.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
As we continue to cast our eyes around minor league cricket, the Atlantic Conference is sorted. We're going to see a matchup in Morrisville between the New Jersey Stallions and the Atlanta Fire. That's all taken care of. New Jersey winning a tight affair. It was hard, coast-to-coast heart attacks yesterday in the late going. Those 2 games ending almost within 10 minutes of each other. We do have one other game going on right now, and it's the other Pacific Conference semifinal decider, Seattle Thunderbolts.
Very good delivery to start with. Slowing it down. Joe, Seattle Thunderbolts versus Dallas Mustangs. Give us an update.
58 for no loss, just a few balls outside the power play for the Seattle Thunderbolts. A heck of a start for them. We know they've got the kind of bowling attack that might be able to hold Dallas in check, and all indications are here as Andres House and Ryan Patan have split the duties very nicely. House with 34 already, as that one's worked back behind. Deanna Ryan up with it, but it will be another single.
It's good to know that they're getting a full game as well. The overs aren't being curtailed, and may the rain gods stay away and the cricketing gods smile.
Yeah, they seem to have finally found a dry patch somewhere in Texas, moving the location of that game from Musa Stadium to Prairie View Complex.
Oh. Slapped it straight back. Will pick up a single, and it's very sportive of the other team as well, the Mustangs, to accept that. Because remember, had the game not happened, they would have advanced. It's very sportive indeed. Such a treat to watch, and that is exactly what you get in 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco. Cricket played in the right spirit.
Without doubt, a Dallas team with just 2 losses on the season. In fact, one of those losses coming to the team in orange and black in front of us. They're looking for a second. Throw from Zahid Zakhail. That's down to the non-striker's end. Won't be in time or quite on target. We all just hold our breath and hope that Pranay Suri, who shook his hand a little bit after that, doesn't become the umpteenth member of the Silicon Valley Strikers to need medical attention today.
No, you don't want the physio to be one of the players eventually making it to the 11. They want to be all right. Oh, very well done. Ensuring that he uses his feet to access the gaps behind him better. Gets a single. As Pranay Suri is one step ahead of the batter on that occasion. He's got a lovely field set for both the left-handers. It's not changing much. All that's changing is that short fine leg, which sort of moves towards the left when Saad Ali plays. We'll try and decode that too.
Well, perhaps a signal here of a bit of intent. I've noticed Suri tending to bowl a bit more down the leg side to Ackerman, a bit wider to Saad Ali, so it does change what you might expect in terms of where the ball might end up. That's going to do it for that over. 6 from it. 54 for 1.
Thank God. It's supposed to be.
So we do have the answer here with Srinivas Raghavan unavailable at the moment due to the injury picked up in the field. It'll be Shahan Jayasuriya rolling over the arm from the San Pedro end as just as they did yesterday, Silicon Valley Strikers start going double barrel spin from both directions.
Ackerman, who's accustomed to a lot of lovely pace from where he comes, now will have to treat spin with equal prowess and doesn't. It is Shahan Jayasuriya, the man with a golden arm. The middle stump is lying dead.
Picking up exactly where he left off from Seattle. The last time he bowled a good 3 or 4 weeks ago, he was 1 for 3 in 2 overs, none for 3 in 1 over, and now begins with a wicket on his first ball.
Concerns for Chicago Tiger as Ackerman departs without troubling much. Big moment in the game indeed, as Saad Ali will feel more pressure now with one of his left-handed buddies back in the hut and the ball keeping low as well. Good work from Shahan Jayasuriya, who went sideways and has got a little Kedar Jadhav about him as he leaves this one. Targets the stumps and gets the reward.
Well, and Suhas, we've talked so much this season about the batting depth of this team. Here's a moment, Srinivas Raghavan unable to go, and you see that, again, that next man up sort of mindset. Shahan comes in and delivers exactly what they were getting from Srini last time.
Yeah, endless possibilities and abundance in bowling options. Silicon Valley Strikers. They ensure that at least a player is able to do a couple of things on the field. Unmukh Chand signed up as a skipper who can open the batting. At times, if asked to keep, will put his hand up as well. Look at Shahan Jayasuriya. will win you games in Seattle, will continue that form whenever he gets an opportunity, but will not ask the skipper, hey, can I get to ball because I'm feeling good? Doesn't interfere, but still, a senior pro. Just tells you that it's important to have players of that kind, which sort of makes the team gel well together. Shehan Jayasuriya gets an opportunity, steps in at the right time as Srinivas Raghavan, who would be nursing an injury but will feel much better to see that stump dislodge as his absence is not being felt. Very well stopped. Saurabh Netravalkar, and there's something heartwarming all the time to see a pace bowler dive full length and put his body on the line.
Indeed, Netravalkar stopping that one out in the covers, and we'll have another quick ball here, and another one straight to Netravalkar. Jayasuriya and Sara basically just playing catch right now with the assistance of Manan Patel's bat.
Jayasuriya, Manan Netravalkar. Jayasuriya, Manan Netravalkar. That's been the over so far. Now this would be a single that Manan will feel much better about. Opens the account. And would be interesting to see how Saad Ali generates the opportunities to go for the big shots at this particular stage when Manan is still new to the crease. But they still got to up the ante because the middle overs is where Chicago Tigers usually are on the prowl.
Manan Patel, 21.3 the average this season, 150 the strike rate. That one coming up and cramping Syed Saad Ali as Shehan, already having broken the partnership, looks to try and take out the other member of it here.
He's got all the rights in the world to stay put there, Manan, just in case the viewers are wondering why is he coming in the way of Shehan Jayasuriya trying to stop that single in the ball. End of the over with that single. Saad Ali will retain strike. 9 overs gone, 56 for 2.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
From the Barrett Avenue end, 56 for 2, a brilliant over from Shehan Jayasuriya. That one cut away to the offside, couple of hops and over the boundary rope despite the pursuit out in the deep of Shehan Jayasuriya.
Look no further. Dafanu's shot of the day. What a shot. Just picks the length up so early and posts it wide of long off. This is pure class and great temperament from Saad Ali, who wants to start the over in his own terms. Now it's got the rhythm going. Now it's got the momentum going. Saad Ali.
Certainly an early favorite on that one, Suhas. Another one cut away. This is right at the fielder at point, though. Just the single.
Now Manan Patel. Man who's just walked in. Now he has the license to go for the big shots as well. We've talked about it so many times that Chicago Tigers differ from all the other sides because they love to play the middle overs in their favor, and this is where they usually attack the most. Today, the wicket's falling at the right time as far as the Silicon Valley Strikers are concerned to stall the progress in that regard.
On the season, averaging 75 runs over the course of the middle 9 overs and just 3 wickets down. Of course, yesterday, a very different story in Game 1. Game 2 managed to remain nice and stable. That turns out to be largely the difference in the match.
Absolutely. You asked the Strikers as well if they had to decode last night's game for them. It was the middle overs.
Yeah, with bat and ball.
New day, new challenges, but the same side. 61 for 2 Chicago Tigers. Reaching the halfway mark in terms of the balls allocated to them. But 3 more deliveries left to reach the 10-over mark, and they will be mighty pleased with 62 for 2 at the moment because they chose caution over flamboyance in terms of their stroke play. Just like Lakshmi House of Spices, you've got to find the right blend. Authentic South Asian cuisine, the traditional taste that reminds me so much of home. Oh, that's huge. That is pinging off the bat. No stopping this one. It was always going to be 6. And Manan answers the call. Sends it for 6. And he's made his intentions clear. The middle overs are going to be the big ones.
A little bit of a miss there on length from Pranay Suri, and Manan Patel ready to take full advantage. That one deep to the offside. Nobody move. Just watch, then fetch. That'll do it for the over. An expensive one for Pranay Suri. 13 from it. 69 for 2 at the halfway point.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Change my outlook in a matter of 5 seconds. I'll tell you why. When I look for logos now, just look for the one.
Surya continues from the San Pedro end. And why not? Very effective first over of work. Just the 2 runs from it. Again, coming with that sidearm sling. It's going to be a long run here, looking for 2. It's a quick turn, the throw down to Surya's end. Not able to get it cleanly, and another Silicon Valley player coming up, having been bitten by the leather.
And it's also the hand that he usually uses to bowl. Now he's turned to the left hand of his. Now Shehan Jayasuriya, because of that slingy action, makes it difficult for the batter to get underneath, and that's why he's unable to get the elevation. This could be another run. This is another run. Very proactive running. So the strikers, they got to be on their toes all the time. All the time indeed, because Chicago Tigers at the moment are pilfering the second run whenever it is on offer.
Very willing to attack between the wickets, and Gary Graham's throw a bit too tall for Shehan. Good diving play there by Suri in the covers.
Pranay Suri is good on the field. His movement towards the right was just wonderful to watch for any youngster watching as well. That's how you anticipate. It's gone high. No distance on it. Zahid Zakil under it. He's put it down. That should have been taken. It hung up in the air so long at Saad Ali's wicket. And boy, will he make them pay. He has been nothing but tremendous from the word go, Syed Saad Ali. But his innings could have been curtailed on 43 not to be.
43 exactly where he landed yesterday on almost exactly the same number of deliveries, in fact. But not graced in that particular match.
How costly is this going to be? Silicon Valley strikers not their 100% on the field. Some of them missing their opportunity to field, nursing an injury.
Kavisha and Simran usually so vocal over here from the fans area, now pacing back and forth. Pressure starting to get even to the fans. But there's Shehan again lighting up the Singh Bales. A second clean bowled. And just like that, Manan Patel set down.
Well, there is some pain while the celebrations will begin as well, because Rahul Jariwala is down as the stumps were disturbed. Is that the bail? I really hope he's all right. If it's the bail, it has to miss his eye, and that's what I'd be praying. On here, Manan Patel. Shehan Jayasuriya struck timber once again. Calvin Savage will be the new man in. Well, when you pick up a wicket as any cricket team, you want to ensure that you get together for celebration and not with concern. Looks like they're going to disperse in despair over here because he is still down. Rahul Jariwala. He's got over 11 men inspecting him. It's very difficult to say from this angle what exactly is the problem, but I really hope it's not the bail hitting him on the face. Because there's very little one can do when the bail hits you like that.
In fact, I'm getting a look at the replay right now from the YouTube stream, and if I had to guess, it looks like it may have come up and gotten him in the throat, at least based on the way he responded to it. Looks like perhaps the tender part underneath the neck, right there between the two collarbones, maybe, is where he reached for upon impact, and so indeed the bale did come up and bite him.
This looks to be very, very difficult indeed. It's good news is that he's able to drink water, so he's all right. If it's hitting his throat, that hit his throat, then seems to be okay. But is he okay enough to continue? There have been a lot of injury concerns ever since the strikers took the field today. Some of them post due to the ferocity of the ball, and Rahul Jariwala has been at the receiving end of it a couple of times. Some of them also because it's the third game that Silicon Valley strikers are playing. And we don't know about the amount of rest that they would have got. Not so much mentally, because they'd be tossing around in their beds, both these sides for different reasons.
Oh, without doubt.
But also because of the toll it takes on your body as well. Third game within a span of 24 hours.
Well, and to my recollection, I don't think they've even played 2 games in a day yet this season. Certain teams in our league, SoCal Lashing spring to mind, have done that on a few occasions.
Hollywood Master Blasters as well.
Yeah, this is definitely new for Silicon Valley at this point in the season. Obviously experienced campaigners. We talked to Srini Raghavan earlier about his work in 50-over cricket, so not a foreign thing to play that much cricket in the span of a day, but to come back the very next day and do it all over again is a different matter. Indeed, we have an indication from Jayanth, in fact, that that is exactly where it got him, is that spot right between the collarbones at the base of the neck. But Jariwala does continue. 1 ball left in the over after Jayasuriya picks up the wicket of Manan Patel.
I'll tell you what. Wants to be cheeky right away. Calvin Savage gets it right from the middle of the bat. Jayasuriya was running into ball to a righty. Little did he realize Calvin Savage is wonderful with that reverse sweep as well. We'll keep the chat live about Rahul Jariwala. 78 for 2 at the end of 11.
1, 2, 3.
Pranay Suri continues from the Barrett Avenue end. 12th over about to get underway, 78 for 2. Looking to come back from an expensive one, 13 off of him the last time he had the ball in hand, which feels like a little while ago after all the concern in the midst of the Shahan Jayasuriya over. A lot of action there. Single to start.
Now, the point that we're trying to make about Rahul Jariwala is the fact that he's got hit now once in the throat, once in the shoulder. He's also nursing another injury that was that's what we came to know. Still out there to ensure that the game's completed and his services with the services behind the wicket are provided. It's hit his throat, but that's not going to muffle him from the appeals, is what one would like to believe. Gentle pushes, wants that second run, and Saad Ali is a master of the second run. He can write thesis about it.
Calvin Savage, fresh legs, and very long ones at that.
Yeah, Calvin Savage has perhaps got a stride less to cover the 22 yards compared to Saad Ali. But Saad Ali was the one running towards the danger end. It was good to see him make that call.
This reminds me of seeing LeBron James at full gallop, getting from half court to the rim in 4 steps. That one, again, worked to the onside. Just a single this time around as Pranay Suri fielding off his own bowling. Savage entering play with this weekend rather, with a 36 average and a 171 strike rate. He has when available, one of the top batters in all of minor league cricket. Put more specifics to that, 13th in all the league in strike rate.
That one sort of bit the surface and bounced so much. Saad Ali cannot do much but laugh at it.
I think he's asking the umpire whether that was a wide or not.
It's definitely not wide. That was high enough. Is he treating it as a bouncer, you mean? Not when it was supposed to be the point of interception. That's all right. Rahul Jariwala did not sign up to catch the ball over his shoulder when he is trying to keep up to the spinner.
That one a very full ball. Swatted back into the ground by Saad Ali. Another dot for Surrey.
I tell you what, throughout the season, Silicon Valley Strikers, the most they were tested were by East Bay Blazers. Once East Bay Blazers won the game, once it was Silicon Valley Strikers. We'll keep the chat alive. Chicago Tigers at the end of 12, 82 for 3.
Thirteenth over. Score right now 82 for 3 for the Chicago Tigers, and about to see a matchup between the number 4 and 5 players in minor league cricket in Tom Nielsen's impact ratings for overall impact. Shehan Jayasuriya at one end with the ball in hand. Calvin Savage with his long levers and the bat at the other.
Calvin Savage, the 5th there. Shehan Jayasuriya leading.
Bragging rights at stake right here. Could change things. Already a 4 for Savage, looking to hop his way over the Sri Lankan.
Look how round arm he gets. Calvin Savage wants a second run, not there. Unmukt Chand with an arrow-like throw. He's one of the better throwers of the ball, and that's one of the reasons that he's fielding in the deep. Covers ground quickly, good thrower of the ball. The wind is picking up, and Saad Ali would be wary of it. He's got to hit it with the wind. That is, if he's trying to target Shehan Jayasuriya, and Shehan Jayasuriya is bowling little round armish, and it's getting difficult for Saad Ali to get the elevation in case he's looking for a big shot. But this is always an option.
Well, and Shehan doesn't really flight it a whole lot, but that wind is definitely blowing right to left, so accentuating the angle he might be able to create now.
Saad Ali. With that single, moves on to well into the 40s, but that was in the air for a brief moment. Not enough to have the keeper interested for a dive.
Yeah, Savage tried to help that one around the corner. That may well have been a wide if he'd let it go.
A good adjustment by Shehan Jayasuriya as he saw Savage slightly early in giving his plan a way of dancing down the track. Season campaigner Shehan Jayasuriya is also getting through the over very quickly. Saad Ali, a boundary away from what would be a terrific half-century in a big game of this sort. Yes, he did get a reprieve with Said Zakil getting to the ball but not completing the catch. The pressure, the nerves. He's gone through with the shot this time around. Lendl Simmons has got bucket-like hands. Will be taken. Saad Ali once got lucky the second time, right into the hands. Saad Ali's innings has come to an end, and this would be remembered for a long time. A gritty 46 come the big game, but the brakes have been applied with Silicon Valley Strikers finding glory with the wicket.
And very, very similar to the shot where he got the reprieve earlier from Zahid Zakil. This time around, Lendl Simmons not in any mood to forgive a shot that deserves to be taken. And Suhas, a little bit of the commentator's curse on that one, getting ready for the half century, but no such luck there. So with that, the final delivery of the over, 3 from it, 85 for 4. With Pranay Suri out of eligibility, his 4 overs went for a total of 31 runs. It'll be Dev Thadani now from the Barrett Avenue end. Change of ends for the young pacer.
Just imagine what this game can do every single day to you. It props up so many fantastic moments and so many quizzical moments which you sort of make you throw your head back and say, wow, what have we done over here? Shehan Jayasuriya gets to bowl because Mr. Srinivas Raghavan couldn't continue. Shehan Jayasuriya churns up 3 overs, 14 runs and 3 wickets, stats of this kind, and has one more important over up his sleeve. And I don't see a reason why he wouldn't get that.
He's done excellent work and picked up right where Srini left off. Pushing for the 2 on the ball to the onside. Throw is to the non-strikers, and Dev Thadani can't quite come up with it cleanly. Karan Kumar, the new batter, in safely and now off the mark with a 2. As we continue to keep our eye on the game that will provide the opponent of our winner here in Morgan Hill. Seattle now 122 for 1 through almost 13 overs. Heck of a batting performance from them in Prairie View. Savage will push that one to the onside, up with it in the deep. A correction, I attributed the 2 to Karan Kumar before. He was at the non-strikers and my mistake. Savage with 3 from the over. Now Karan Kumar will face his first delivery.
Karan Kumar got the game yesterday, the second of the 2 that was played. Was handy with the ball in hand as well.
Yeah, indeed, 30 off 34, not out as a batter.
That was slightly slower for his liking, to be honest. Yeah. Karan Kumar, over 10,000 runs in Chicago cricket. Played a lot on other surfaces. Would be interesting to see how he adjusts on turf. And it was more of an adjustment innings, that 30 of 34 for him. Now he's got a hang of it.
And as you mentioned, with ball in hand, 1 for 25. And Narsingh Dhanarayan told us it'll be interesting to see when Silicon Valley come out to bat. His feeling was they really should have targeted him more than they did during the middle overs.
But I think Karan Kumar stands tall to tell you that off-spinners cannot be taken lightly. Now, Karan Kumar's got all the shots in the book. Watch out for that reverse sweep as well. If it's there to be hit, he'll go for it. Not against the pacer. Would be very audacious indeed. But the way our game has moved, especially and evolved in the T20 format, the pacers are being treated like spinners.
And certainly the chances I've had to see Kumar in action, a potentially big swinger if it's on offer. That one tapped to backward square.
Yeah.
Saurabh Netravalkar up with it. It'll be a single.
Kevin Savage, the current captain of Chicago Tigers. And when there was a team called the Chicago Catchers last year, Karan Kumar was part of the leadership group there.
Yeah, they didn't have the kind of success that we're seeing this season from the Chicago Tigers. New management, new outlook, new results. They're here battling for a spot in Morrisville. Single for Savage to finish off the over. 7 from it. 92 for 4.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
And we'll see the fourth of 4 overs here from Shahan Jayasuriya, who has been so important to the cause in relief of Srinivas Raghavan, currently back in the pavilion, nursing an injury picked up in the field. First delivery of this over, a single for Calvin Savage.
Shahan Jayasuriya, man with the golden arm, 3 important wickets at a time when Chicago Tigers were trying to up the ante. And it's also picked up the big fish in Saad Ali, who was trying to reach the next gear.
Well, and it's been the way of Silicon Valley this season. I mentioned in yesterday's games, in fact, that it's a bit of a tug of war here in the middle overs. That one just to the side of Jayasuriya. Able to run the quick single is Karan Kumar. Very decisive running between the wickets, but generally speaking, the Silicon Valley strikers good for about 65 runs conceded during the middle overs, but 4 wickets taken. They usually apply the pressure a little bit here before trying to take quick wickets inside the death overs, and we're right on the doorstep of that. We'll tell you how both teams do normally there. Another single worked. The last few overs, that's what Chicago Tigers have been largely limited to. This one in the vacant mid-wicket area, long run in from the outfield, and they will take 2 on that one. And we had a 4 from Calvin Savage right after the Manan Patel wicket. Since then now, nearly 4 overs completed without a boundary. Jayasuriya with 2 more balls to bowl here in the 15th. One worked to the man at long on. Savage quickly out there and makes the turn, but no second run on. Unmukt Chand a bit too strong with the arm out there and a bit too quick on the pickup.
Shahan Jayasuriya has done a decent job in this over too.
Oddly enough, stats that look very similar to the average of the 2 performances yesterday from Srinivas Raghavan. So what a fantastic replacement for that. Almost like he never left.
Yes, and what a blessing in disguise it has been for Shahan Jayasuriya to complete his 4 overs today. He's given away 21 and picked up 3 vital wickets as Chicago Tigers at the end of 15, 99 for 4.
1, 2, 3.
Hitting the death overs now, 16th. It will continue to be Dev Thadani. This a little more of the time that he's accustomed to bowling his overs. He has been utilized in the power play a bit more recently, but has been very effective in the death. First delivery to Calvin Savage. That one knocked down in front of him. He'll look to take the quick single, and he's absolutely trucked Dev Thadani in the middle of the pitch.
Silicon Valley strikers cannot afford another injury concern, and it's good to see Rahul Jariwala get there first to help his buddy out. Just returning the favor of what happened slightly earlier.
My goodness, Dev Thadani and Rahul Jariwala are going to spend the batting innings just covered in ice and perhaps bubble wrap. Right word.
Dev Thadani looks good enough to continue, and that is a great sight indeed for Silicon Valley strikers. Beautifully played. He's written 2 at least on it. Lovely dive, but he stepped on it. But at that time, he'd gotten rid of the ball. Great boundary awareness as well. No matter where you place him, all around the field, he'll give you 3 wickets with the ball in hand and plenty more runs saved. No wonder he's an impact player.
My goodness. Speaking of impact, that play earlier with the impact of Dev Thadani brings up the 100 for Chicago Tigers. But no, Shahan Jayasuriya today having the sort of golden touch that we've been talking about from Kulvinder Singh for the last handful of games. Down on
Gets
one
into
knee.
a beautiful position and guides the ball between the fielders for 4. Dear Narayan had no option but to retrieve.
That breaks a 26-ball streak with no boundaries for the Chicago Tigers.
Wow.
Between Jayasuriya and Thadani and Surrey, able to limit the damage.
There we go, another contender for Dafanu's shot of the day.
That was elegant there. Kamar down on one knee. The sweep back behind square.
We've talked about spacers being treated like spinners. There was one such instance and Dafanu's would have taken notice. Dafanu's, if you're a sports connoisseur, that's the place to go. Not just for cricket, all the other sports too, and do check out their feature of the week.
Up in Seattle, Harmeet Singh, the captain, putting his hand up, 49, nearing a half century for his side. Here's another captain looking to do work as well to try to drag his team to a first innings total capable of being defended. Calvin Savage sprays that one to point. Up with it, Lendl Simmons out near the boundary, and that'll be just a single.
Arun Kumar moves on to a gritty 13 that involves one good boundary. Slightly slower this time from Dev Thadani. Straight back to Dev. Dot ball to end the over. A 108 for 4 at the end of 16. The business end of the innings.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Netravalkar has played a lot of supportive roles. We've talked about that, and others reaping the reward of his consistent bowling as the batters decide to target the bowlers who operate around him rather than Netravalkar himself. And today, he's got a big task over here. Try and restrict Chicago Tigers from getting the crescendo finish that we talk about so often.
That one driven through the gap on the offside, looking for a second run. Strong throw is coming to the non-striker's end. Not in time or on target. Kumar gets home.
Zahid Zakhil's not been 100% today on the field. He's dropped a sitter, and now this. Usually a fantastic fielder himself, Zahid Zakhil.
Yeah, he's had the one drop and a few errant throws. Obviously not anticipating perhaps that he would be pressed into service quite as early as he was. Here is the emergency fielder, of course, Srinivas Raghavan. We've talked about a great deal having to leave the field. Replaced to great effect by Shahan Jayasuriya in the attack. That's been the story, really, of this first innings so far. Netravalkar targeting the stumps with the second delivery of the over. That worked to the man at point. and a single for Calvin Savage, the captain.
Saurabh Netravalkar is with a field that has been said is looks like it's decided to keep it tight here. It's gone for damage control. Doesn't want to give away the boundaries. It's the Nelson here with 111 for 4.
Start hopping.
That's what I was going to tell you. There was a quiet cue for you to start hopping.
To be fair, for fans of Silicon Valley Strikers, the hope is that it does exactly what it usually does, but we have moved off 111 to 112. Lendl Simmons up with it in the deep, and a single for Karan Kumar.
Calvin Savage is now surveying the field as if he's looking for a big shot for sure. Off late, he's been playing that single and twos with great conviction, especially with the last shot that he played. Now it looks like he wants bigger denominations under his belt. Saurabh Netravalkar would be a difficult bowler to hit away, especially with the angle taking it away from the right-hander. The slow Yorker was through with the shot and the ball ballooned and eventually came back to hit his toes. It's very difficult to hit away and a very difficult ball to execute, especially with the bowling action, which is so upright.
You were saying we were looking for the angle away from the left-hander. That one instead, just as a change of pace, both in terms of length and speed and line, puts that one straight into the pads well off of leg stump.
Saurabh Netravalkar. He's done a brilliant job so far in terms of damage control. He's also troubled the batter by asking him a question he doesn't have an answer to. Calvin Savage has decided to go straight down the ground. That ball will taste grass, cement, gravel, and into the fence for 4.
Call that the Morgan Hill terrain sample platter.
Beautiful shot indeed. Saurabh Netravalkar now has got to regain composure and think about a different plan altogether. With minimum room as well, the long levers of Savage are being used to great use. They've been put to great use. Shahan Jayasuriya has been moved touch squarer, interestingly, even though the shot was hit finer, straight down the ground. Savage gets into a lovely position and the ball was never to be seen again. Go explore the city.
Dafa News, take note. That one's even got the nice freeze frame there as Calvin Savage coming across his stumps and turning a ball that may have been on a 5th stump line well back behind backward square.
Terrific striking. If the first shot was authority, boy, this was even better. Just getting into the position early and he's picked his spot as well. It's very difficult to hit Saurabh Netravalkar away, especially because he's a skinny customer and extremely seasoned campaigner. But this was pure audacity and great temperament. Calvin Savage leading from the front.
Able to get under a few of them there, and after 26 balls without a boundary, 3 off the last 10. 122 for 4, 3 overs left. It's the man they call Paji coming from the Barrett Avenue end. Kulvinder Singh will face off with Karan Kumar, currently on strike, as we begin the 18th. Continuing to cast our eyes over to Seattle, 165 for 2 over there through 15 and a half overs. Harmeet Singh out on 56. Andres House, on the other hand, 76 not out, working on what would be an interesting repeat of last season. We'll get to that in a moment, though, as that one is shot through the gap behind square. And it's a 4 to start this one. That's 3 boundaries on the bounce for the Chicago Tigers.
Ideal start for Chicago Tigers as far as this over is concerned from Kulvinder Singh. Now they can dictate terms, carry the momentum. Wonderful shot. Karan Kumar is someone who's got almost 2 shots to every ball. What is Kulwinder's response? Slightly slower and outside off. Just leans into it, does Karan, and leaves it to Savage, who has been tremendous with his striking. The fielders of Silicon Valley Strikers are now buzzing, Joe.
Absolutely, almost seeming to be spurred on by the fans.
126 at the moment, Chicago Tigers with 6 wickets in hand and Savage still there. They're looking at least 150.
Yeah, that's got to be the target. 140 is pretty chaseable for this Silicon Valley team, but we know that the gear they get into changes a little bit. The higher that the target goes, they tend to come out very hard against smaller targets, a bit more circumspect against the slightly larger ones, and we saw that play havoc with them yesterday.
Mentally, they're prepared to chase a target down, otherwise they wouldn't have decided to bowl first.
Clearly.
And Savage knows that and will want that cushion of additional extra runs. Savage wants to. Jersey number 2 wants to, but will only get a single. Quick to get to the ball.
I imagine in a moment like that, wants the runs and wants the strike back. Calvin Savage starting to see things very well, although, of course, Kumar with the 4 to start this over. So good eyes, good settled batters on both ends of the crease right now for Chicago. Eye of the tiger, if you will.
Gently tapped and enough to send it for 4. Suri tried his best with his left arm doing the trick. Not so much. The ricochet will only reduce the pace of the ball a little bit. The result will remain what Chicago Tigers want.
5 boundaries in the last 3 overs now. Chicago beginning that acceleration in earnest.
Just loving this contest at the moment as they reach that psychological 130, 150 is on their mind for sure. Chicago Tigers looking for a bigger prey. Kulwinder Singh's response is much awaited. He's decided to follow the batter on that occasion. Inside out, a difficult shot to execute will only grant him a single. A single to end the over as well. Kulwinder Singh, a so-so over for him. 133 for 4.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
$133 for the loss of 4. Chicago Tigers. Saurabh Netravalkar would be bowling the penultimate. Joe, what's a good total from here on? 133, 6 wickets in hand, 2 set batters in the middle for Chicago Tigers. They'd be looking good for 150 plus.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that even just psychologically reaching that total against Silicon Valley has been a rare thing this season. That one tapped to the offside. Good ball to start from Saurabh Netravalkar. It'll just be a single.
Perfect execution of the Yorker. And now the mini battle begins. Saurabh Netravalkar, who hasn't been treated like a spinner for a while, was up against Calvin Savage, who hit one of the longest sixes. He just hung up in the air, but you knew he was going to travel the distance because of the pace provided by Saurabh.
And we need some of those StatCast things that they have right now in Major League Baseball. Get me an exit velocity on that strike.
Slight change in field as he brings the man at sweeper cover slightly in front.
Digging out another Yorker, and that one's going to be in the onside. There's a lot of ground to cover. Throw coming in. It's a direct hit. But the finger stays down.
Calvin Savage eventually makes it. The long levers of the captain comes to work. But how close was that? This is a game of inches, and Calvin Savage has done a tremendous job to turn just in time and drag his bat as well by doing the basics right. Boy, was it a good throw.
And Dev Thadani, who already has taken a wicket with his bowling arm, trying to do so with the fielding arm. It's the same arm, but different motion.
Yeah, Saurabh Netravalkar now. is decided to go the Yorker's way. Or is he also having the slow ball Yorker in his kitty that he wants to spin once again? Oh, that was as quick as it gets. He's dug it out. Unmukt Chand will take it on the bounce, will keep it down to a single. It's a big moment in the game, as Calvin Savage with that sledgehammer was looking to deposit that beyond the boundary rope, but didn't get underneath it. What great execution under pressure. Saurabh Netravalkar showing why he's of international caliber.
And it feels strange to say it. Netravalkar right now, at least based on the stats for today's game, would appear to be the bowler to target at this point. He's gone for 29. Actually make it 30 after that last one, but that's a very strange sentence to even utter.
That was before he found out Yorkers are the best deliveries to bowl, because that's independent of the surface. He has executed the Yorker 3 times in a row. Saurabh Netravalkar. This time does get underneath it. The batter will call for 2. 2 is very audacious. The throw is very loopy, to be honest, and arrives in installment, but still the single is all that's possible.
I think in that moment, the loopy throw, because of the recognition that the batters had finally hit the brakes. No need to risk overthrows in that moment. Just go ahead and get it back in.
Saurabh Netravalkar, very tricky so far. As soon as he realized the batter is trying to do something new, that is to come towards him to try and meet it as a low full toss, if not a Yorker, decides to slow it down. This is great execution. And I like the captaincy from Unmukt, and I'll tell you why. Oh, that's it well. That's in the gap as well. Unmukt Chand cannot get to it, and it's flying away to the fence. Just inside the play area, it goes for 4. The Yorker barrage got little predictable, and Savage had enough willow to send it for 4. That's the end of 19th. A terrific shot to end the over. Savage keeps the Tigers in the hunt, 142 for 4. What? I just... But are we on? Deliveries were bowling this over so far. 142 for 4. Looks like there's another delivery left up the sleeve of Saurabh Netravalkar. And now he'll be bowling that.
Thought I was losing my mind over here. Every now and again I miss a dot ball. We just get excited talking about it. I forget to put it on my sheet. But indeed,
our conversations apart from cricket suggest that you already have. Don't worry about it. Joe, 150 is on the cards. Do you believe so as well?
Oh, absolutely. At this point, I mean, that boundary was the thing they were going to need at some point or another to get there. Otherwise, almost a run of ball would have taken care of it. But Savage, perhaps looking for another one into the deep.
Straight down the ground is another option for Savage. He knew he had to dig it out. He's sitting deep inside the crease. He's taken a single to retain strike. And a single it shall be. Taking the throw on when it comes to Lendl Simmons can be a difficult proposition. 1-4-3 as the 18th overs eventually come to an end. 19 overs gone. 143 for 4.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Bird on. 19 overs gone. 1-4-3 for 4. The Chicago Tigers. They've got to the psychological target of 140. $150 on the cards with Calvin Savage, who is having a tremendous game with a bat in hand and had a tremendous one last night as well. Oh, got him! The classic commentator's curse, as Joe says it. Kulvinder Singh gets it right. On the base of the stumps when it matters the most, Calvin Savage departs, and that could be at least 10 runs going back without scoring.
And there the highest fifth wicket partnership of the season for the Chicago Tigers brought to an end at 58 runs. Recall it came in at about 85 for 4.
Straight, simple, and at the base of the stumps, Kulvinder Singh great in execution and under pressure. Calvin Savage departs for a tremendous 41 at just 27. Chicago Tigers lose half their side for 143 on the board.
Sahel.
Yep.
Yep. The new man at the striker's end is Sami Sohail, who finished yesterday's second game with a bit of a crescendo of 6 on the final delivery. He won't get a chance this time. Kulvinder Singh knocks over off stump, and it's back-to-back wickets. Singh on a hat trick.
Kulvinder Singh does a Santa Clara again. On a hat trick now, Kulvinder, as he has found the right sweet spots to land the ball, not once but twice in a row to disturb Timber. There is a love affair with the off stump that Kulvinder Singh is now rejoicing. Can he do it 3 in a row? Now, if he does 3 in a row, you know that it's going to be a hat-trick to remember for a long time, given the gravity of the game. What a good comeback by Silicon Valley strikers. The best form of a dot ball is always a wicket, and they've done it 2 on the trot.
We'll give you a little bit of the history on hat tricks in minor league cricket. There have been 5 of them. Fani Simhadri and Usman Rafiq this season have achieved the feat. We'll see what kind of fields put in place. Try to provide as many modes of dismissal as possible as the new man comes to the crease. It is Deepchand Pinaka with the number 26 on his back. Here comes Big Kulvinder. That's in the air. Could be a chance, but it looks like it's found the gap and will get down. Good work out at the boundary to save the 4. Pinaka wants a 3rd. His teammate has not come with him, and it's going to be the simplest of runouts for Rahul Janiwala.
It is indeed a hat-trick, but a team hat-trick. You can't put a foot wrong. Kulvinder, in the dire stages of the game, has done a terrific job indeed. The ball was hung up in the air for a long time, and an excellent dive from Zahid Zakil to keep it in play. Enough to induce the mistake from Chicago Tigers. They got the first one, they got the second, but then 2 men at the same end with the pads on. Never a good sign for the batting side.
Yeah, it's not how you draw it up. Deepchand Pinaka gone for 2 off of 1. Sohail none off 1. Paling a little bit in comparison to Savage's 41. 2 scores in the 40s here in this innings for the Chicago Tigers. But we've talked a little bit about the tendency of the Tigers to occasionally lose wickets in absolute clumps. They've lost 3 for single digits 3 times in their match against Lone Star Athletics, and it led to their downfall.
Credit to Silicon Valley strikers to have kept Chicago Tigers under check, even though the momentum was with the Tigers. They were loading up to be on the prowl all the time to get to a psychological 150. Now that looks like a dream to achieve. It's not a pebbles throw away, mind you. Wickets at the right time for Kulvinder Singh to keep the brakes, to put the brakes and keep the pressure on Chicago Tigers. Dot ball, an absolutely priceless dot ball, and had that been a direct hit, could have been
a nice hit anyway. There we go, Sidney Bhatti going 4 and 4 for the team.
This is harakiri from Chicago Tigers. What looked like 150 is now being deflated to 145. So many runouts, so many wickets, 4 wickets in this over so far. That's awesome.
And on that one there, the ball knocked just to the side of Kulvinder Singh. And initially, what we saw was Karan Kumar taking off, I think, wanting to strike from the non-striker's end. Gave him a chance to try to throw behind him. And then they took off on the overthrow.
Communication's always going to be a problem if it's the Tigers, because they're not the Wolves. The Wolves hunt in packs. The Tigers usually go alone.
And indeed, Karan Kumar finding himself alone. They've been having to pad players up with alarming frequency over there. That is 4 wickets in 4 balls for just 2 runs.
Kulvinder Singh has decided, all right, he loves the off stump and it's at the strikers end, just enough at the non-strikers to just give me the ball in hand. He's executed a perfect run out by keeping the calm head on his shoulders.
I believe that is Mitansh. Nityanandam.
Mitansh Nityanandam had no clue that he should be patted up when this over began. He had no clue that he'd be finding himself in the eye of the storm.
Is it 5 from 5? Here comes Singh. Kumar straight back at Panji, and he almost catches it on the rebound. Absolutely stung, and he puts out the big paw. Very nearly gets to it, and he's going to need a moment to shake that off.
How exciting can an over get? It's not like runs are flowing either. It's just that every single ball is literally an opportunity to pick up a wicket, and that's very, very close. They're getting to doing so. Twice in a row, the off stump rattled, then miscommunication, a wicket, miscommunication of the non-strikers, and another wicket. And then Kulvinder Singh decides to put his big hand up to raise for the occasion and also take that catch, but not to be on that occasion.
So the final delivery of the first innings will fall to young Mitansh. Karan Kumar with a single off that last ball, off the hand of Kulvinder Singh, and we'll wait just a moment longer for that last delivery.
He's called it off because he realizes too much to handle. There's just too much action to unpack and too much drama to handle. But by calling that off, he's just delaying and elongating the spot boiler. Kulvinder Singh with a final delivery. Just 2 runs of the over, that's all they've got. The third one will also be a struggle. They do get there, the Tigers. 147 for Chicago Tigers. As Silicon Valley Strikers would be looking to get to 148. That is the mission they're on to advance in the tournament. The Tigers do not get the crescendo finish that they were looking for, as a psychological 150 was not achieved. But 147, you never know on a track of this kind, which is not the easiest to bat on.
Indeed, the best batting performance of the weekend so far for Chicago. Highest score, generally speaking, throughout the middle overs, managed to avoid the collapse that has been a problem for them. Got slowed down a little bit through the middle. But a 46 from the opener, Syed Saad Ali. Calvin Savage, the captain, with 41. 27 in a nice cameo from Karan Kumar, as well as 12 from Prithvish Patel. Otherwise, though, the collapse there at the end, avoiding the arrival at 150. And again, we'll be back in 10 minutes. Destination Morrisville if Silicon Valley Strikers
is running in at an angle to generate that outside edge. Walked away better and in control. This will go to the fence. Saad Ali is looking for. Just like that, places it towards the right of Shehan Jayasuriya. Has hurt himself in the process. That's more concerning for strikers. The second run is also on. The throw is perfect as it gets. Saad Ali has decided to go inside out. It has enough to clear the infield for sure. Work to do for the captain. Just enough as steady as possible to be gauging the line. Oh, Rahul Jariwala has put one down and it's taken him many a game. That's gone up in the air, but will it be taken? Circling beneath it, that will land safely and also have enough fuel to reach the fence.
For big runs at the beginning and then locked down toward the end. This one's in the air. Could be taken. Is taken. The captain and Mukchand settles under it. And Prithvish Patel, after the 4 early, was slightly let out of this balloon. That one in the air, but no one in that vicinity. But he's capable.
It's a third time Graham's missed as well.
That one into the gap, and that will get through in front of the pavilion.
Saad Ali looks up so late. That generates the edge. Work to do for Kulvinder, who will delay the dive. Now we'll have to treat spin with equal prowess, and doesn't. It is Shehan Jayasuriya, the man with a golden arm. The middle stump is lying dead.
From the Barrett Avenue end, 56 for 2, a brilliant over from Shehan Jayasuriya. That one cut away to the offside, couple of hops and over the boundary rope despite the pursuit out in the deep of Shehan Jayasuriya.
Look no further. Dafanu's shot of the day. What? Oh, that's huge. That is pinging off the bat. No stopping this one. It was always going to be 6. Wonderful to watch for any youngster watching as well. That's how you anticipate. It's gone high. No distance on it. Zahid Zakil under it. He's put it down. That should have been taken.
Pressure starting to get even to the fans. But there's Shahan again lighting up the Singh Bales. A second clean bowled. And just like that, Manan Patel.
Wants to be cheeky right away. Calvin Savage gets it right from the middle of the bat. He's gone through with the shot this time around. Lendl Simmons has got bucket-like hands. Will be taken. Saad Ali once.
It's been very effective in the death. First delivery to Calvin Savage. That one knocked down in front of him. He'll look to take the quick single, and he's absolutely trucked Dev Thadani in the middle of the pitch. The last handful of games. Down
Gets into a beautiful position and guides the ball between the fielders for four. Away from the right-hander. The slow Yorker was through with the shot and the ball ballooned and eventually came back. The batter by asking him a question he doesn't have an answer to. Calvin Savage has decided to go straight down the ground. Finer, straight down the ground. Savage gets into a lovely position and the ball was never to be seen again. Go explore the city.
76 not out, working on what would be an interesting repeat of last season. We'll get to that in a moment, though, as that one is shot through the gap. Eye of the Tiger, if you will.
Gently tapped and enough to send it for four. Suri
digging out another Yorker, and that one's going to be in the onside. There's a lot of ground to cover. Throw coming in. It's a direct hit.
See from Unmukt, and I'll tell you why. Oh, that's it, well. That's in the gap as well. Unmukt Chand cannot get to it, and it's flying away to the fence with a bat in hand. And had a tremendous one last night as well. Oh, got him! The classic commentator's curse, as Joe says it. Kulvinder Singh gets it right.
Today's second game with a bit of a crescendo of 6 on the final delivery. He won't get a chance this time. Kulvinder Singh knocks over off stump, and it's back-to-back wickets. Singh on a hat trick. Here comes big Kulvinder. That's in the air. Could be a chance, but it looks like it's found the gap and will get down. Good work out at the boundary to save the 4. Pinaka wants a third. His teammate has not come with him, and it's going to be the simplest of runouts for Rahul Jariwala.
It is indeed a hat trick, but Chicago Tigers. Dot ball, an absolutely priceless dot ball, and had that been a direct hit, could have been.
They might have it anyway. There you go, Sidney Bhatti going 4-4 for the team.
This is harakiri from Chicago Tigers.
Is it 5 from 5? Here comes Singh. Kamara straight back at Paji, and he almost catches it on the rebound. Absolutely stung, and he puts out the big paw. Very neat.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco. You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
Folks, 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket presented by Sunoco. We have got a run chase, and it is a chase for a ticket to Morrisville. 148, the target set for the Silicon Valley Strikers, looking for a return trip to defend their title. The Chicago Tigers looking for the upset victory in their first season. Joe Hickey back with you from Morgan Hill. Suhas Vedam with me on the comms. Suhas, who do you got?
It's not very difficult to say that at the moment, Joe. Like many other fans of cricket as well, we'll just watch biting our nails. It's going to be a terrific contest between bat and ball. Mission 148, we've talked about that before. Mission 148 for Silicon Valley Strikers to advance in this tournament. It's a do or die for both the sides. And that sort of tilts the scale a lot more towards the bowling side. As far as Chicago Tigers are concerned, runs on the board are runs on the board.
It'll be Rana Aleti to start things off. He'll be bowling at the collection of cricket ball-shaped bruises known as Rahul Jariwala at the striker's end. First delivery elicits an appeal, but no finger up from the umpire. A dot ball to start.
Excellent start here from Aleti. Love that intent. The keeper standing up, Bhatti standing up because he knows there will be some swing. The wind is in the direction of the batter at the moment, so it will help Rana Aleti a lot. Rahul Jariwala has been sent up top to do the damage, to reduce the impact of 148. Gets bat to ball, picks up a single. Silicon Valley Strikers are on their way.
That'll bring the captain Unmuk Chand, as ever, in at number 2 on strike. And Rana Aleti, we saw just a moment ago there, a massive proponent of the slower delivery, someone who bowls that largely as his first choice ball. Somewhere around 60 to 70% of his deliveries coming out off pace. Looking for that again, Unmuk Chand, very, very patient in waiting for that one. Nearly does shoot the gap. It is chased down. Chand will take 2.
Excellent running between the wickets as well as Unmuk Chand eases it through the gap. That was more of a feel-good shot where he doesn't hit it with great prowess and power, just easing it through the shot. Once you ease through the shot like that, you just want to check if the balance is right, if the bat's connecting the ball in the right place. And also the 2 runs that he took would be great warm-up indeed. Now Unmuk Chand has got to play the longer innings today. By longer innings, we mean the second fiddle to Rahul Jariwala, who would have been given the license, I really assume, to go for the big shots here. Rahul Jariwala up top. Unmuk Chand, it's difficult being Unmuk Chand at times, I feel. Reason being not the difficulty of being a captain to a tremendous side like this, where you have plethora of talent, but at the same time, you got to handle some big names. But also because as an opening batter, you don't know who your partner is going to be.
I've done it a little bit of everybody. Zakil, Simmons now. Jadiwala's had a few games in there. We saw Arsh Butch at the beginning of the season. Lots of options available, and pretty much every one of them has made a 50 opening partnership at some point this season.
Lendl Simmons being held back is another question to be asked here. Do they believe that if the game gets into a situation like it did yesterday, where 9 and over is suddenly required, even though you have 6 wickets in hand, Lendl Simmons would be a better use there?
Well, certainly given the absence now of Reefer and Primus, who were supplying that sort of late power earlier in the season, slotting him into that role, knowing you've got somebody like Jadiwala up top, potentially a very wise move.
End of the over. A swing fest indeed, the first over. 1 over gone, 4 for no loss, the strikers.
1, 2, 3.
Over, it'll be the captain on captain, Calvin Savage, coming from the Barrett Avenue end, bowling at Unmukt Chand. Savage yesterday doing toward the end of that match, doing a bit of an impression of the alien from Life named Calvin, eating up just about everything around him in managing to preserve that 136 total and give them that chance to win in the Super Over.
Joe, you've given me some good homework, and the homework that I like the most is of Hollywood kind.
And that 20th over, defending just 7, or defending 6. Silicon Valley needed 7. That, of course, an act of absolute monstrosity for any Silicon Valley fans here. And even with the drop of the potential wicket, managing to preserve that, that's normally how you expect to get that sort of thing done.
Calvin versus Unmukt Chand, the battle of the captains begins.
Dot ball to start, and of course, Calvin finished that match off by calling his own number in the bowling department in the Super Over and holding Silicon Valley to just 4 and taking Unmukt Chand's wicket in that Super Over.
Usually when a pacer comes in to bowl, he wants to get the stock ball out because that's what dictates rhythm for him. Calvin has started with a slower delivery by rolling his fingers over it.
Cagey competitor here. That'll draw the swing of Unmukt Chand. Fielder in place, Manan Patel to it, and that'll be another dot ball.
Yesterday's innings of Unmukt Chand, of course, wasn't able to get his team over the line in the second game. That's what I'm talking about. I really felt there wasn't a shot that he played in anger. He was able to pace the innings better. Sort of many things are going right for him with the bat in hand. But the final frontier, he was unable to conquer. And today would want to make sure that he stays there till the end and plays the anchor's role with Jadiwala at the other end.
He's got experience in deciding games of 3-game series already in minor league cricket. Of course, the absolutely mythical 132 not out down in Austin last season to allow them to chase down a total north of 190.
I needed some brilliance up top, and Unmukt was able to provide that against Chicago Tigers, however. He's got to replicate such an effort, but with a little different kind of a role. The role of batting as a captain, the role of leading from the front with a captain's knock. That's in the air, was just in front. Did not draw that dive from the fielder. Decided to hang back and take it on the bounce. He had a split-second decision to make that Deep Chand Pinaka. Unmukt Chand would have had his heart in his mouth for sure, because that was in the air for a brief moment. He'd given it a lot of wrist.
A moment here where you have to keep your wits about you. Calvin Savage is dealing 4 dot balls to start his spell here. You want to make sure you don't succumb to the dot ball pressure.
Absolutely, Joe. This was easy pickings for someone like Unmukt Chand. He's also called for 2. 2 would be a little risky as the throw is already on its way. Good stop and good throw in by Sami Sohail. We'll soon see him in action as well, especially if the ball's starting to swing a little bit more with the wind. Sami Sohail. We talked about the deceptive pace yesterday as well with Sami Sohail. I really believe if Bhatti is up for the task, he'll also stand up to the stumps to Sami Sohail so that Unmukt Chand has no other option but to negotiate the swing.
Final delivery of the over. That one sounded like it got some pad, but the appeal is immediately muted. And that will do it. Just Chand's single off the over. 5 for no loss through 2.
My son. He's so soft-spoken. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Rana Aleti continues from the San Pedro end. No surprise there. He's bowled 73% of his overs this season inside the power play and nearly half the total overs inside the first 6 this year for the Chicago Tigers.
And Rana Aleti has started off well. The ball is swinging as he's leaving it beautifully. The seam presentation is a treat to watch indeed. That's in the air, but will land beyond the inner circle. And will it have enough Sunoko to reach the fence? Almost does.
And does indeed.
With the flick, it was given more momentum, but towards the wrong direction compared to the fielder's choice. Sometimes the ball does stick into your palm and it does give you the loopy direction, proving the ball to go further than what the fielder expects it to. A 4 to start off with. Much needed for Unmukt Chand.
And before that delivery, you were discussing the swing on offer apparently for Rana Aleti, the rare pace bowler who you might start to use some spin terminology for. It seems to be the one that I've ever seen flighted up.
He's got to pitch it up there, to be very honest. He's got to pitch it up and float the ball a little more so that the wind can also take effect. He wants to use the natural conditions as much as possible, because with natural conditions coming into play, more uncertainty comes into play, and that's where the set batters feel more troublesome, let alone when a batter is new to the crease like Unmukt Chand is. Oh, well, more bounce, almost wanted to cut it outside the keeper's gloves.
Yeah, Unmukt Chand playing that one pretty late right there, taking it almost out of Sunny Bhatti's gloves.
Savage is having a word with the bowler, and I think it's regarding the field. He's also suggesting with the jerseys flapping that is the end, that the wind is blowing as well, in case we can have another fielder for the cut shot. Would that be a plan that you would be on board for? Rana Aleti seems to be all right, agreeing in... It wasn't a negative nod for what Savage said. Sort of agreed. Much better. Rahul Jariwala wants a single. A little late to start off was Unmukt Chand, also because he was on the back foot as he played that. The transfer of weight takes a little bit of time. Rahul Jariwala is up for the task. He was able to complete a quick run, Joe. Wants that strike. Doesn't want to be starved at the strike. He wants to do the bigger things in the first 6 overs.
And Jariwala coming in with a 21.4 average. Looking to get something done here in the power play, but that is straight up. Chance to settle under it, drifting back. It's bobbled and it's dropped. Rahul Jariwala will survive. Marcus Ackerman unable to settle that one in the palms.
Rana Aleti creates the opportunity. Rahul Jariwala survives. He was a goner. Marcus Ackerman would have taken it many a time, and it was as simple as it gets. He was circling around it for some reason. A bit of a juggle act, and the ball grasped, an opportunity grasped. A sigh of relief for Unmukt Chand as well, as he realizes his partner is intact.
And certainly a ball where the wind may have carried it a little bit further than Ackerman was expecting, blowing back towards us and away from toward the direction Ackerman himself was running. Dot ball to finish that. Rahul Jariwala exhales. 6 off the over, 11 for no loss.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Calvin Savage continuing from the Barrett Avenue end. First delivery to Jediwala, worked back to third man for a single.
The wind is picking up, as you've seen so many times at Morgan Hill. Sunny afternoons with accompanied by a lot of good breeze. Sometimes so much that we are left scurrying for our paper. Oh, this is gone straight up in the air, running backwards. It's not going to be an easy catch if he gets there, that is. It's going to travel for four as well. An opportunity created once again. Luck favoring the Silicon Valley Strikers.
That one a fair bit more challenging of a catch than the one that Ackerman was unable to get. Prithvish Patel having to get into a dive as that continued to drift back toward the boundary at third man, and now both openers have been let off.
What is it about Unmukh Chand hitting it to Prithvish Patel? Prithvish Patel completed a tremendous catch to dismiss the batter yesterday, and today almost with that dive completed another wonderful catch. More challenging of the two.
Dot ball to follow here. Calvin Savage continuing to put pressure on. Gave up just one in his first over of work. So far a single, a hard luck 4, and a dot delivery to start this over.
These two teams, they have completed an entire spectrum of emotions that one can experience in a cricket match. Poor delivery would be a wide. And the first game was convincingly won by strikers and Unmukh Chand romped home. The second game was so challenging for the strikers. That's the most they've been tested, according to me, in the entire tournament. And the Tigers came out on top, courtesy the man who has the ball in hand at the moment.
And certainly the greatest test they've experienced from anybody not wearing yellow.
It's just drifting down leg side too much. Unmukh Chand doesn't get the better part of the bat on this one, of course. It's no part of the bat, in fact, but just look like it's a missed opportunity for Unmukh Chand.
Well, and I think, too, we're seeing between he and especially Jadiwala, the willingness to go for these quicker singles, even when the ball isn't hit terribly well. I think yesterday, maybe a little bit less intense, the running of a Lendl Simmons, somebody who you'd like to allow to just stand, swivel, and try to destroy the ball, as opposed to take those. Although there's some swivel and destroy potentially. That has got just enough Sunoco to get under the hand of Sammy Sahel. That one skipping off the outfield here in Morgan Hill like a rock off a pond. 4 for Rahul Jadiwala.
Excellent shot. Lovely wrists. He's been sent in for a reason, and this is what it is. Utilize the first 6 overs. Utilize the fact that just 2 men are patrolling the boundary rope. Rahul Jadiwala has placed it to perfection.
First boundary of the game for the 18-year-old from Fremont, California.
He's wise beyond his age as well in terms of the cricketing mind that he's got.
Well, our understanding is that he is just an absolute sponge and could not be asked for a better team to be soaking up knowledge from than the men that he is partnered with here with the Silicon Valley Strikers.
Don't know about sponge, but talking about taking an impact, looks like he is the best. Got hit so many times today, but still out there doing it for his side with a bat in hand now. Poor delivery, wide down the leg side once, now wide down the off. Calvin Savage is spraying the deliveries to all sides. He's got to get it right. He's already been lucky with Unmukh Chand not clipping it away for 4.
Well, and this possibly the one vice of Calvin Savage this season has been the issue with the extras. Wides and no balls making up nearly 12% of the runs that he's given up this season. That a better ball. 5th stump line stays down a little bit on Jadiwala, and he swings through it.
4 overs gone, 23 for no loss.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
for no loss. 23 for no loss, 4 overs. Deepchand Pinaka in action for the first time today. Was a joy to watch yesterday with the way he was teasing the outside edge and targeting the shoulder of the bat. Deepchand Pinaka was just fantastic with the late swing that he gets. Usually when a bowler gets swing, the batter has to be wary of not playing the initial line but the later line. But when a bowler starts to get late swing, it becomes even more difficult to negotiate. Today, can he bring some of that to the table? Unmukh Chand would be wary of that too.
Everything about bowling, basically a matter of maximizing deviation and minimizing reaction time. And Pinaka was in rare form. 2 wickets rather, for 31 runs in his 4 overs, but that hardly tells the story. With a couple better catches, he may well have had himself a 5-fer yesterday. Absolutely outstanding in game 2.
Deepchand Pinaka creating opportunities for a living and trusting his fielders to do the rest. Can he do the same today? Deepchand's first. Unmukh Chand gets the better of Deepchand with that 6. Right on the money. Just pick the length and then pick the bones out of it.
Chand on Chand crime right there. A bit of a miss on the length and a absolutely gorgeous cut over extra cover.
There was never a question of that ball falling anywhere in the vicinity of the boundary rope. That was 6 the moment it was hit.
That's the nice thing when they do hit it laterally like that. We have a pretty good idea immediately of where it's going to land. When it comes straight back at us, there's always that moment of doubt. Like, does that have the legs? This one, no problem.
Unmukh Chand has decided to double up as Lendl Simmons as well today with that power hitting game. Gloriously driven. This is more of Chand's speciality. Gets a 6 and then a single. Deepchand Pinaka, what a way to invite him into the attack.
Yeah, a bit of a rude greeting.
Rahul Jariwala has clipped one off his hips and one beautifully put away with his lovely wrist for 4. Now to Deepchand Pinaka in an over which has already yielded 7. Again, it's on the leg side. There's too many balls on the leg side or on the leg stump for Savage's liking as well. He himself was a culprit a couple of times.
Pinaka will look to be straightening that out, try to challenge the captain. As a reminder, he is the one who induced that ball that Prithvish Patel caught just centimeters above the grass here in Morgan Hill yesterday to dismiss the captain of the Men in Blue.
Very well bowled. That is the ideal length to be bowling at this stage. If Unmukh Chand wants runs, he's got to take that additional risk, much like he took with the very first ball of Deepchand Pinaka. That's gone through the gap. It will be 4. No stopping that. Unmukh Chand gets it in the gap and puts it away with perfection. The second boundary of the over.
Plenty of Sunoco on that one. 4 boundary shots, 3 4s and a 6 in the last 10 deliveries. Silicon Valley looking to make this power play count. They tend to start a little bit on the slow side in their matches, just 7.5 runs per over. It's their lowest scoring stage of matches so far this season coming in. They've yet to lose 3 wickets in a power play, and we know what the stats have to say about that 3-wicket loss. And if you've never done it, fair part of the reason why they're 14-2 this year.
Oh, no stopping this one as well. Everyone plays statue. Unmukh Chand only sees the gaps.
With that, a monster over off of Deepchand Pinaka. It's going to be 16 off of it, 39 for no loss.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
We got over there. Oh, do they switch? Why not let these end?
Rana Aleti gets a new end to bowl from. He is under some pressure now because he knows that Unmukt Chand and Rahul Jariwala have got the momentum. The opportunity was created but not pouched. Can he do it again, Rana Aleti? Someone who believes in floating the ball up in the air. He's got a lovely wrist. That snap of the wrist as the ball comes out. Lovely seam presentation as well. It's good to see that there is a level of orthodoxy that will always remain no matter what format of the game that you play.
And it seems here a chance to make some use of the wind now blowing to offer a line across Jariwala and Chand. That one's back to third man. Up with it is Karan Kumar. Jariwala will scamper back.
Another reason that Rahul Jariwala is sitting deep inside the crease is because the keeper is already up. But that doesn't deter him from going at least slightly forward to compensate the fact that he's very near the stumps at the moment. Cheeky and at his best, the ball will travel. The second time Rahul Jariwala has peppered that region behind square, and the second time he's succeeded in doing so.
Long chase here for Dichan Pinaka to go fetch that one as it went all the way to the fences near the construction area back behind.
Gets into position early, reads the fact that the ball is even marginally short. And in the first 6 overs, it's just easy pickings for Rahul Jariwala.
And Suhas, the bounce so far today has seemed to be a great deal less skiddy. We heard Narsingh Deonarayan tell us they had a very hard time, especially late in the piece, getting under the ball and trying to drive it and get it up in the air to find its way to the boundary. Today, much less difficulty for both sides.
Absolutely, Joe. And I think the wind is not going to die down anytime soon. As long as the ball is nice and new, it will swing a little bit more, offering some trouble to the batters. But Rahul Jariwala seems to find ways of breaking free. For example, that shot. Getting into a good position, getting the boundary. This one even better. No stopping Rahul Jariwala today. He's walked out with a big reason. And he's sending the ball sailing over the fence.
That brings up the 50, and it's been 40 runs off the last 3 overs for the Silicon Valley Strikers.
They've decided to chase this down, treating it as 120 kind of a total, as they usually try and get the smaller totals very quickly. Joe, we were discussing that in the first innings as well. They decided to be positive. But what surprises me the most about Silicon Valley Strikers is the fact this could be 4 more. This is traveling too. Getting into a good position. And once again, flicking it behind square. Rahul Jariwala has scored a majority of runs behind square, where it's the most difficult to get the runs.
He's making good use of some balls that have been slightly short here to get to the get out to the pitch of it and flick it back where they ain't. And with the last 4 balls of the fielding restrictions, he manages to go deep twice and take that one to the boundary. A very powerful end to the power play. 55 for no loss as the fielding restrictions lift.
1, 2, 3.
The point that I was getting to is the fact that they do a lot of rejigging in their batting lineup, but it sort of works every single time for Silicon Valley Strikers. Look at the scorecard now. 55 for no loss in just 6 overs. Unmukh Chand off to a flyer. Rahul Jariwala is scoring runs for fun.
Well, and this partnership has borne fruit in the past, and Jariwala and Chand, in fact, responsible for the 10th highest scoring opening partnership in minor league cricket this season. 101 not out as they won by 10 wickets against the Golden State Grizzlies back on July 30th. Chand has been part of 5 different 50 opening partnerships this season. 2 with Zakhail, 1 with Bush, 1 with Simmons, 1 with Jariwala. Doesn't matter who you put him with, he gets it done.
Sami Sohail has been requested to provide his services with the ball in hand now. The drop catch has already started to hurt them so much with Rahul Jariwala scoring a lot of runs in very quick time. Anything which is there for the drive, Unmukh Chand will not hesitate. Now with more protection offered, Sami Sohail would believe that he can get the job done.
And Sohail potentially a partnership breaker. We discussed yesterday almost half of his innings so far this season. He's managed to pick up a wicket within his first 6 deliveries. 7 of 15 games, including game 1 yesterday.
Sami Sohail. For Sami Sohail, the keeper is not standing up. It was only for Rana Aleti.
Under edge tap back to the bowler. And Sohail, somebody who Calvin Savage said to Nate Hayes and to Joel Manning in a few interviews, is someone who can be very, very hard on himself. And I think yesterday it's going to be important for him that he had as good of a day as he did with the ball in hand. To not have to come in here and shake something off, not to have to be told by his captain, hey, look at all the good you've done, get out of your own head. Right now he's got to be feeling good. That's in the air, but looks like it's going to fall in no man's land with the fielding restrictions released. Everybody in that particular quadrant of the field back at the boundary.
Good running between the wickets as Rahul Jariwala would have had his heart in his mouth as it hung up in the air for a long time. Unmukh Chand decided to push his partner to go for the second run as well.
Well, I think that's a great sign both of the excellent captaincy of Chand and the maturity of Rahul Jariwala. In a moment like that, it is so easy to ball watch as a batter and forget that you have an opportunity as long as it makes it to the earth.
That's not going to help Chicago Tigers. Momentum is being sucked out of Chicago Tigers at the moment. Rahul Jariwala is generating those edges as well, but he's still out there.
We mentioned beforehand that Calvin Savage has had his issues with wides and no balls. Sohail and Aleti as well in that 6 to 7% region of their runs coming by way of deliveries that had something on the technical side wrong with them.
Rahul Jariwala was trying to back away to create some room over here, but he's done his job. The job that he was sent to do in the first 6 overs was to decimate the opposition. 59 for no loss, with greater contributions coming from Rahul Jariwala, and the captain not shying away from big shots as well. They'll be mighty pleased. This is going to land safely as well. Rahul Jariwala is paying the premium to an insurance of catching.
To maintain an undefeated record and make a run to through a tournament like this one requires a little bit of luck here and there, awful lot of skill.
Sami Sohail has got slight change in plan over here. Captain Savage wants fine leg inside the circle and at the edge of the circle. He's decided to be the man at 45 on the leg side. Poor delivery, very, very poor delivery. Captain Chand stays put as he watches the umpire spread his arms.
And as the run rate required is creeping down towards 6, really can't afford giving away free runs to a team that scores them so freely off the bat already.
Absolutely, Joe. And perhaps that's what they've rectified, the strikers, compared to yesterday. Start off with a bang. Keep the required rate under check all the time. Don't let it creep up over 8 at any point of time. A single to end the over. 7 overs gone, 62 for no loss.
My son. He's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking. And he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Seven overs gone, 62 for no loss. Casting our eye over to Prairie View, Texas, and the match that will decide the opponent of our winner here in Morgan Hill. 56 for 1 at the end of the power play. Dallas Mustangs needing exactly 150 runs from the final 14 overs. Started off needing about 10.2 per over. They now need 10.8. First delivery of this over here coming from Karan Kumar, the off spinner. Unmukhchand works that to the onside for a single. This was a bowler that Narsingh Narayan told us they felt maybe they missed a trick yesterday in not targeting him for a little bit more intensity, a little more aggression in his 4 overs.
That's in the gap as well. And a good stop. Oh, one-handed stop. That was heading to the fence in no time. What a fantastic effort that is. Karan Kumar gets the support that he wants from the fielders.
If he was still wearing his hat, he'd be tipping it right now to Prithvi Patel. That was outstanding.
Just went chasing the ball. Unmukhchand.
There's really no impact rating just yet that incorporates defensive work, but we've seen some fantastic stuff from Prithvi Patel. Looking for the quick single on the ball, run down to third man, throws off line. Jadiwala will make it home.
Silicon Valley Strikers at the moment cruising towards the target. 65 for no loss with all the 10 wickets intact and 74 balls to get their 83. The equation is well under control.
Bit of a false start there from Kumar.
He's thrown it wide and tempted Jadiwala to go for the big shot again. The ball is swerving, but that catch is taken. The dive towards the end as well has made it look a little more difficult, but the ball is swerving and it was never under control. It's good to see a catch from Chicago Tigers is what Savage would be telling himself. Boys, this is possible. The first of many more to come. 65 for 1, the Silicon Valley Strikers, as Rahul Jariwala decides to run out of lives.
That ball, even before the swerving in the air as the Tiger catcher tried to settle under it, a lot of swerve in the air as well. Kumar flighting that ball up a bit softer than the prior tosses had been. And as you said, tempting Jadiwala to follow it to the outside. We'd seen Chand do that a little bit earlier as well, but that is the end of the day. But Jadiwala, an excellent contribution as he's able to register 27 off 21 balls, 2 4s and 2 6s before being caught by Sammy Sohail. And as is the case for most of the good teams in this league, you get rid of one of the openers and it's out of the frying pan into the fire. Shehan Jayasuriya will enter the action now at the crease alongside Unmukhchand. These two have authored some outstanding middle overs partnerships over the course of this season. Of course, Jayasuriya has been responsible for a lot of the runs in those partnerships. He's got the most runs in all of minor league cricket. Came into the weekend ahead of everyone that was still alive in the tournament by 132. He's got the most 4s in the tournament. Had a 15-hit lead over Andres House coming into the weekend. 8th most 6s, 7th best average, and 2 of the top 6 scores in the entire league this season, topped by topped by a 115 not out that happened a day after he registered 112 not out against the Chicago Tigers.
Successful over for Karan Kumar. Yes, there was some targeting, but the bowler got the better of the batter on that occasion. 65 for 1.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Sammy Sohail will continue from the San Pedro end. First delivery, briefly airborne, but that'll run down to third man. Single for Unmuk Chand to start over number 9. That'll bring Shahan on strike to face his first delivery. As we've said many a time here over the course of the last month working together, Suhas, not October yet, so he did not face the one immediately after Rahul Jadewala's wicket was taken.
Yes, to all the viewers, after October, the rules will change. And the batter coming in will face the ball irrespective of the fact that the outgoing batter had crossed or no.
Sohail around the wicket to Jayasuriya, the left-hander. Pushed through the gap, looking immediately for 2, but will turn it down. Another wicket down, by the way, in Prairie View, 63 for 2 now through 8 overs. Dallas Mustangs slowing up a touch, and they are almost to the point of needing 2 runs per ball from this point forward to try to make their championship of the Central Division count and work their way to Morrisville. Otherwise, it would be Seattle taking on the winner of our game here.
Very well played. Unmuk Chand has shifted gears, teeing off in the first 6 and then going a gear down in the middle overs. Shahan Jayasuriya and Unmuk Chand, a lot of experience in the middle.
And they'll certainly be looking to build a partnership here and try to extend Shahan a little bit. They certainly want to make sure that he is feeling right and feeling himself going into a potential weekend in Morrisville. Of course, they want him to be a big part of them punching that ticket here today.
Oh, slapped away. Work to do for the man in the deep. Second run is not on. It's a good throw as well. A stylish collect from Sammy Sohail.
4 singles so far from this over. Sammy Sohail, generally speaking, keeping it pretty tight. They've struggled to get him away to the boundary the way they have with, for instance, Deepchand Pinaka or Rana Aleti so far in this game.
He's waiting a little more, Unmuk Chand, for the ball to arrive before he leans into the drive, as he's so certain that he wants only a single. He's concentrating on the shape that he generates and gets into while he's stroking the ball.
I think we talked about yesterday a little bit of the slowdown for Silicon Valley Strikers was them not aggressively looking to take singles when they might be on, pushing for that extra run, waiting for the bigger shots and getting dotted up, continuing to get singles here for the time being, holds the required run rate right where it is.
Stylish Shahan as he hits it straight to the fielder this time though. End of the over.
71 for 1.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Tenth over, and it will continue to be Karan Kumar from the Barrett Avenue end, the end of the ground, where Suhas, you've joked that anybody who tries to buy a house on that avenue is immediately asked, what kind of spin do you bowl? For Kumar, so far the answer is right hand off spin and effective. 4 and a wicket from his first over. Silicon Valley now with an asking rate of exactly 77 runs needed from 11 remaining overs.
Dancing down the track and targeting the right region of the ground as well. You draw a straight line, it can't get any straighter than the trail of the ball.
Now, there's a name for that defensive position, but nobody knows it because no one's ever in it.
You can't set a fielder there. If you set a fielder there, it'll be deemed no ball. You can't set a fielder straight in front of the batter. However, since you brought it in our conversation, you can set a fielder. Would be a single. However, you can set a fielder exactly behind the keeper towards the boundary rope.
I know this one. Long stop.
Very well done, Joe. But nothing in front of the side screen.
That seems fair. If I was allowed to do it, I'd be waving my hands like I was trying to distract somebody taking a free throw.
Yeah, you could take cues from your DP on Instagram and on WhatsApp. Beautifully done. Shehan Jayasuriya is playing himself in. It's just the talent and experience of the man. He knows that the situation doesn't require him to be flamboyant at the moment. He wants to play himself in as well, as he's recovering from a little slump in his outings with the bat in hand. Today, he realizes a great opportunity to play the second fiddle to captain, taking his team home. So far, they've done a tremendous job, the Silicon Valley Strikers. Unmukt Chand with a short arm jab. Boy, does the ball travel. Dafa new shot of the day right there. Reading the length early and dismissing it with disdain out of his presence.
Driven like a Toyota Tundra. That one absolutely says, let's go places.
Fantastic shot indeed. Great transfer of weight and no half measures whatsoever.
Chand really did finish the regular season quite strong. Went for better than 60 runs in 3 of his last 4 outings. Yesterday, just shy of a 50 in Game 2, and a great contribution in Game 1 as well. And this one splits the fielder just past the hands of Syed Saad Ali and all the way to the boundary.
This is pure dominance from the men in blue.
Chand dealing in boundaries right now. That's a 4 and a 6 and a 4 just in this over.
We've talked about the fact that the off-spinner needs to be targeted a little more, is what they thought, the Silicon Valley Strikers. That's a great stop indeed from Karan.
And Chand absolutely furious. Feels like he missed out on that one. Kicks at the dirt afterwards. And you get a sense of the standard he holds himself to. Already 15 runs in that over just off of his bat, and frustrated that he couldn't extend that number even higher. 16 for Silicon Valley off the over, 86 for 1.
1, 2, 3.
Hale continues from the San Pedro end. Using his feet is Shahan Jayasuriya. There is a brief appeal from Sohail as that one is flicked to the onside for a single, well outside the line of the stumps from our view at least.
As we have a cracker on our hands here in Morgan Hill, there is another game going on, which has now been shifted to PVCC. Dallas Mustangs versus Seattle Thunderbolts. A quick update there, Joe, as the fourth wicket's fallen for Dallas Mustangs.
Indeed, briefly, Shubman Ranjane on a hat trick. He had two back-to-back wickets, removing Dinesh Ramdan and Corey Anderson on back-to-back balls, as this one is shot by the man in the covers. There is protection out there, but another one of those classy cover drives from Unmuk Chand.
Very well bowled indeed. And excellently played too. This is good cricket all around. Look at the fielding effort too. Had he not got a hand to it, could have been more runs. He's not only got a hand to it and reduced the pace on the ball, but he's also directed it to the nearest fielder in the deep.
Marcus Ackerman shaking off that right hand after that impact. Here comes Sohail to Jayasuriya. That one will split the gap and work its way to the outfield. Jayasuriya wants two. It's going to be a close one as they throw down to the non-striker's end, but the throw is well offline and a chance for more, and they will take a third on the overthrow.
Excellent running between the wickets. Shahan Jayasuriya wanted to access the gap better and dance down the track, a little shimmy, and playing it with soft hands to allow enough time for him to turn for the second. Little did he realize the throw was dispatched to the wrong address. Three more added to the tally.
Finishing our update on Seattle, Dallas, that makes it 72 for 4 at this point. Dallas's asking rate has climbed all the way up to 13s as they approach the halfway point of their innings, chasing down 206.
We'll keep it down to a single. Unmuk Chand striking the ball better and reversing gear. 50 up for the man who stood there like a rock. Captain Unmuk Chand delivers come the big time. And he's ensuring that he's holding this run chase together. Doesn't want to leave anything to chance. Doesn't want to put any pressure on the middle order. His job is only half done, and hence it's subdued celebrations.
He'd been flirting with the half-century, though, the last couple of days, in the 30s in Game 1, 45 off 46, and a very steady build-up in Game 2, and today does finally achieve the milestone. Shahan Jayasuriya. Daffy take note. That was absolutely spanked through the onside. Another 4.
Unbelievable hitting. He had minimum room to work with, but he's got wrists like gold. So much power he generates, and boy, is he back in form. If this shot doesn't determine that, I don't know what will. He's dismissed it from his presence with a whip. The dominance of the men in blue grows. They want to treat the previous game like a blip to have taken it thus far and bringing it into Sunday. But in this game, ever since Unmuk Chand won the toss and ever since he's got the bat in hand, the plans are according to what the plans were for the men in blue. What shot there. Good collect and lovely throw as well. The plans were made, and the plans have gone just according to what Unmuk Chand had planned initially as well. Sometimes you change the plans in between the game. That didn't happen at all ever since Unmuk Chand decided to open with Rahul Jariwala today.
That was a little bit of a surprise here. The one major change in the plan, of course, putting in Jariwala as opposed to Lendl Simmons, who had been the opener with Chand the last handful of games, and that seemed to absolutely reap a reward. Jariwala, the right guy, if you're looking to accelerate your running between the wickets a little bit. That's the way they've created all the pressure.
Wants a second run, but will quickly call it off as Savage is there. Doesn't collect it, but the ball will eventually be fielded to keep it down to a single. 11 overs gone, 99 for 1.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
New bowler at the Barrett Avenue end. It will still be spin, but it's going to be Mark Sackerman from that end of the ground, the one renowned for spinners. And Shehan Jayasuriya looking to get well after a few games that have been a bit under his standard. You look back at the ones since the first time Chicago and Silicon Valley met, and it's like reading temperatures in Boston in the summer. It's 112, 115, 63, 86, 49, 28, 46, 69. A lot of very hot temperatures, but you know, it gets a little bit crazy. Sometimes it gets cold in the summer up in the Northeast.
This is something that Calvin Savage needs to try and stop. Fantastic running between the wickets once again. Shehan Jayasuriya ensuring that he doesn't offer a lot of power to his shots, just placing it to perfection, hitting it with soft hands, and allowing him and his partner enough time to come back for the second run. And 2 quick runners between the wickets always helps.
The 100 up for Silicon Valley strikers. And for Jayasuriya, the 4 that he hit in the last over, bringing him to double figures for the first time in a while. That'll be a nice little psychological thing when you're on a streak of getting retired for 4 or 1 or something like that.
Marcus Ackerman, usually a good fielder. On that occasion, the ball skids through and will be a single. Pair of the dot balls. Savage would know that this is the time to apply pressure. This is the time to try and claw back into the game as Tigers. Unmukt Chand is ensuring that he's leaving no stone unturned in terms of shot selection, nor in terms of shot selection, or in terms of running between the wickets. He's been so supportive to someone like Shehan Jayasuriya, who's trying to search for form. Good delivery. But Unmukt will have an answer to it. He's quite content with the single. The single will suffice at this moment with the strike, with the required rate under 6, and definitely under control with 9 wickets in hand.
Right now, it's going to take a serious incursion in the wickets column for Chicago Tigers to find their way back into this.
You could almost sense that he was looking leg side. Will complete that walk, which in our sport will be called a run at the end of the day.
And we've talked about the silly language here in this sport.
What were you most amused by? Absolutely bewildered by?
I still think, honestly, it is the leg by that can come off the helmet. That I think, just the idea that any ball that hits your body and that you get runs off of is called a leg by. I think that was the one, and I haven't heard anything that tops it yet.
Roshan Primus's bicep?
Still bummed out that was actually deleted. I think our mics were off. There were audio issues when we had that discussion.
The second run was on, and the second run is complete. He's milking the bowling at the moment. Unmukt Chand, and Shehan Jayasuriya is also following suit.
I'll say, though, second place to the whole leg by thing is the collection of silly fielding positions, which I actually named my fantasy team after, the San Lorenzo Silly Points.
It's called Silly Point because when the ball's hit with all its ferocity, it's very silly to be there in the line of fire.
Oh, I get it. I get the reasoning for it, and it's outstanding. Typical British humor, I think.
We'll talk about the cow corner as well and how it got its name. 107 for 1 after 12.
1, 2, 3.
Decided to come on again. Change of ends for Calvin, the captain, but he's got to provide the wickets over here. It's one-way traffic at the moment with Unmukt Chand and Shehan Jayasuriya going great guns. Unmukt Chand's finding the bigger denominations as well, and Shehan Jayasuriya is pushing Unmukt for 2s whenever the world thinks there's only 1 to be taken.
When you get a sense here of the importance of this moment, the captain knowing he's got to bowl himself here, try to get that wicket, try to break this partnership that has been responsible for carrying Silicon Valley through the middle overs so many times. Savage this season has only bowled 5 overs outside of the power play and the death. And so to come on this early here in the 13th, season's on the line. That's the reality of it right now. It's going to take something special to pull this one back for the men in orange and black.
Meanwhile, Dallas Mustangs, who are playing Seattle Thunderbolts in PVCC, have lost their 6th wicket as well. Fani Simadri was on a hat-trick just moments ago. Here is Calvin Savage. Nicely negotiated. We'll keep it down to a single. Deliberately going on top of the bounce there, Unmukt Chand, to ensure that the ball goes nowhere but down on the ground.
Pretty effective way to avoid losing your wicket. Morrisville now 40 runs away. 47 balls left to get it.
Great control here from Silicon Valley strikers with the way they've executed this. Not this particular shot though. Shehan Jayasuriya.
Seemed like Savage pulled the length back a little bit, but also maybe got a bit of unexpected bounce on that one. Jayasuriya certainly looked surprised by it.
Shehan Jayasuriya would have expected that extra bit of bounce, especially when it comes from Calvin Savage. Savage very vertically blessed. But again, we haven't seen the Savage-like Yorker. No pressure whatsoever. Just easing it in the gap and picking up a single. Shehan Jayasuriya.
The thing I'm seeing here today, much unlike the middle overs yesterday, is that even on the ball like that, Jayasuriya, with his eyes out towards the ball as he's approaching the crease line, ready to make that turn, the slightest bobble, they're going to try and take that second run. And yesterday, that aggression just was not there.
This is absolutely brilliant to watch, that a target can be hunted down, but a lot of singles and twos can put a lot of pressure on the opponents and keep them on their toes. Poor delivery. It's been a problem and sort of persists with Savage.
Now that his 3rd wide delivery of the game. Semi Sahale's also given up 3. Nudging the target ever closer. 38 runs now.
The importance of a wicket, something has to give. Very, very close to the 3 sticks. Didn't bounce as much as Unmukt expected. I didn't hit timber as Savage expected.
The kind of ball that could have been clean bowled, just about, could have been chopped on, could have been caught behind. All sorts of possibilities there. Absolutely a gorgeous delivery. And for Savage, has to be feeling, man, that was the one.
It's very difficult when Savage can generate that extra bit of bounce, and he's shown it to you in that very same over, but one doesn't bounce as much. Calvin Savage, this time a little wide outside the reach of the batter, but still within the tram line, so no problem.
I think we saw Savage turn to the umpire almost with a slightly pleading look. Please don't. Please don't. Arms stay down.
Calvin Savage, 2 dot deliveries back to back. Let's call for 2 once again. Would be tricky if he gets the second because the fielder is already there. And single, it shall be. And a good throw from Manan Patel. End of the over from Captain Calvin.
And it's the Nelson right now. 1-1-1 for 1. Start hopping, folks.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Ackerman continuing from the Barrett Avenue end of the ground. As we continue to keep our eye on Prairie View as well. Dallas Mustangs now 7 wickets down in the 13th over. Malhotra, Sahib Malhotra has had his day end on just 2. 3 wickets so far for Shubham Ranjane, 3 for Svani Simhadri. Both of them have been on hat tricks, and the wickets have fallen in bunches for Dallas. That one in the air for a moment, but just barely wide of Tejas Visal, and that will run all the way to the boundary.
And we're starting with a boundary. Again, right on top.
Surplus to requirements for sure, but Silicon Valley will not want to let this one drag on any longer than it has to.
Oh, yes, they're treating this as a smaller total now. 37 required in 7 overs. They don't want to take it to the wire. Marcus Ackerman with his leg spin there. Trying to follow the batter a little as Unmukt Chand gave away his predetermination to dance down the track.
That ball off the bat of Chand, the first boundary conceded by Ackerman. Gave up 8, all in singles and a couple of doubles in his first over of work.
Shehan Jayasuriya has played lovely second fiddle to Unmukt Chand and also deposited the ball into the boundary rope when he gets the opportunity against the paces. Lot of singles and twos, just like this. No pressure whatsoever.
Long run in from the boundary rope. Thought for a moment that they might consider a pair, but Jayasuriya not quite the same level of intensity taking off on that one. Certainly with Chand now on 64 from 46, he's hit 9 balls to the boundary, 2 of them getting over on the fly for the maximums. Let the captain have the strike and do what he does.
Just get a feeling that Unmukt Chand is also looking for the single at the moment because he knows the boundary is already done and dusted within this over. The reason I say this, despite knowing that they don't want to take it to the wire, down to the wire, is because of this. Because Marcus Ackerman deliberately trying to push it outside the comfort zone of Unmukt Chand so that he comes down the track again. Unmukt Chand, as much as he wants these 31 runs to be scored quickly, also wants to stay there till the end to avoid any drama whatsoever.
And certainly knowing at this point that really nothing short of a flurry of wickets is going to get it done. At this point, if you just simply avoid that, take the singles and the occasional double where you can, job's going to be done.
Absolutely. Runs required 4.89. That's the required rate. Runs required, well, just look at Shehan Jayasuriya's jersey.
I think Cricket Clubs is a little bit behind on your laptop yet again. We'll have to look at Rushil Ugarkar's jersey, 30.
Rushil Ugarkar is going to be difficult to look at then.
He's over there in the pavilion.
That's it really well. It's called for 2 because with the dive and slide, the dispatch is going to be a little late. What good running this is. Unmukt Chand, he's been there for a while. It's not a fresh pair of legs, but he's done a lot of running for himself and his partner. 2 more added to the tally. End of the over. 14 overs gone. 120 for 1.
Yeah. Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
Naka. His team's in desperate need of not 1 but 2 wickets to do something to set the cat amongst the pigeons.
And he's certainly been the one to produce opportunities in this series so far. Tried Savage once. They've only got 1 over left of him. In the meanwhile, here, by the way, after the 65-run opening partnership between Jariwala and Chand, now a 55-run partnership between Jayasurya and Chand. That the third time those two have cleared the 50 mark.
A bit of an underage, but no damage done. As Unmukt Chand saunters towards the other end. He's got a very reliable Shehan Jayasuriya now that he's back in form. And as far as the strikers are concerned, he's back in form just at the right time.
And they'll certainly need everybody firing at their best. Every Toyota cylinder. A big 2 games potentially awaiting next weekend in Morrisville, North Carolina. 27 rather, more runs to get.
Deepchand Pinaka is running in without the ball. It's because he just wanted to practice if he can change the angle and get it right, land his front foot without that being a problem. And wanted to make it clear that he's running in without the ball in hand. So he plunked the ball down and mentioned it to the batter. Shehan Jayasuriya would need to face this one as Deepchand Pinaka would be ready to deliver this time as he runs in. Very still Shehan Jayasuriya, very still. Straight to Calvin.
Yeah.
The change of angle, the plan seems to be making him drive a little bit more. Try and generate that edge, or that's very well played. And Unmukt Chand was off to take that single. This innings is also a test of fitness for Unmukt Chand. One of the fittest, if not the fittest, in the side. Lots of quick runs taken, lots of running for himself and his partner. It's been a treat to watch. It's been great masterclass of a chase for Silicon Valley strikers, and Unmukt Chand has headed them in the true sense of the word.
Well, that's something kind of typical of Unmukt Chand innings for that matter. For as much as he's scored, only 64% of his runs coming by the way of boundaries, 4s and 6s. Lots of singles, lots of 2s, lots of intent out there. I think it's somewhat changed his game being partnered with Lendl Simmons because they don't quite have the same level of intensity between the wickets. Just about everybody else that they've paired him with has been a very, very willing runner. Looks like we've got a substitution here. I think that earlier stop from Calvin Savage may have eaten him up. He has come off the field to be tended to by the physios, and Sharan Saiteja in his place as the emergency fielder.
Who's going to be skippering the side when he's not there at the moment on the field?
That is a fantastic question. I do believe, if I remember correctly, that Marcus Ackerman is the vice captain of the club, so I would imagine he'll take control of those things. The potentially more alarming thing is that they lose that last over of Calvin Savage with ball in hand. Of course, that's usually deep into the death overs. At the moment, unclear whether we're going to get to that point.
Required run rate 4.73, very manageable. It's going for that run there. Shehan's got to turn quickly. Does so, and it's not a direct hit as well. Helps Shehan Jayasuriya. Got to say that Shehan Jayasuriya and Unmukt Chand have complemented each other really well. There have been hiccups of this kind, but they've complemented each other really well.
Well, season in, season out, too. I know early in the year when I was beginning to keep my spin versus pace split stats, it was very apparent that you had one of them very comfortable against spin, the other one doing most of their attacking against pace, and that's exactly what you like there. You can farm the strike as necessary, regardless of what bowler gets thrown at you.
Deepchand Pinaka. Where is that Yorker? He's called it off. He's called this delivery off.
He's sprinting into quite the headwind at the moment.
He's got to lose some pace as he does that as well.
Both on the ball and just on his own arrival at the crease line.
Now, if you want to bat well, that two in tandem, you got to be willing to complement each other, much like Lakshmi House of Spices basmati rice to your ideas of making lovely pulav.
Couple of dot balls as Pinaka keeping the ball tight in on the body of Unmukt Chand. And a change of field here. Potentially, nope, never mind. It's just Prithvi Patel fetching the ball. Thought he was, thought they were pulling in long off for a moment, which would have been an interesting decision with Chand up there. He likes that area.
A word of advice from Marcus Ackerman. Deepchand Pinaka seems to nod in agreement, but just get a feeling it's about a change in delivery. It's about a change in terms of the variations to be brought in. Unmukt Chand as well brings out the variations that he has in mind. Let's not face the ball head on. Let's help the ball along the way.
We saw a shot like that late in the piece yesterday that came off to absolutely beautiful effect. We also saw Unmukt try that in the super over, and it was his demise. This time around, gets it right, plants the feet, gets the bat in the proper position, reads it well on length, and turns what was a very tidy over from Pinaka into a run a ball 6 off of it. 126 for 1. Last ball you made it.
Silicon Valley Strikers getting it done in a canter. 126 for 1 at the end of 15 overs. 22 runs required in the last 5 with 9 wickets in hand. Is no doubt that the men in blue are the clear favourites here to punch their ticket to Morrisville.
And it does seem almost beyond any doubt that it'll be Seattle Thunderbolts waiting for them as Shahan Jayasuriya cuts that one over the defense on the offside. Protection out in the deep. That'll just be a single. But that match now 8 wickets down the Dallas Mustangs with 4.5 overs remaining. Nash Kenjige, who'd gotten out to double figures, LBW'd by former Bay Area player Rohan Pasanapalli, late of the East Bay Blazers. Perhaps a little bit of revenge there. That one poked to the onside. Another single here for Unmukt Chand. We were tracking beforehand, said we were Shahan Jayasuriya away, runs away earlier. Now we are Saurabh Netravalkar runs away. 20 from the target and from a ticket to Morrisville.
That's high and that's handsome. Shahan Jayasuriya has had enough. Lots of running between the wickets. Now this time, just launches it into the sky.
Yeah, even on a cool day in Morgan Hill, that stuff's exhausting. Just go ahead and send one into the air and admire.
Gets into such a good position as he played that shot as well. As he plays those shots, he's just such a treat to watch. Shahan Jayasuriya took his time, not going, played according to the situation, hung around with the captain, completed singles into twos, troubled all the fielders in the deep, kept them in conundrum. Should be trouble. Big appeal. There was something on it. The fingers eventually gone up. Shahan Jayasuriya stunned, but he's got to leave. Just after hitting a brilliant 6. Tries to target the same baller Ackerman to aim for an early finish. Misses it completely is what one thought initially, but there has to be some part of bat on it as there was no stumping opportunity, but the keeper went up in appeal immediately after pouching it to consider it a catch.
Well, you saw to go along with all of that, we've talked about decibel level on the appeal, and Marcus Ackerman turning and probably delivering some of those decibels right to the umpire as the finger initially didn't go up. I don't know if it was a yell or just very, very wide eyes, but either way, convincing enough. Umpire realizes, yes, I did hear a little something there, and Jayasuriya has to walk. So it'll be Lendl Simmons coming to the crease in his place. to try to get this finished rather than an opening partnership. These two will look to be a very quick closing partnership for the Silicon Valley Strikers. 14 runs away from the total to get, 26 balls to get it.
Still no sign of Calvin. Smacked it straight into the hands of the bowler. Goes beyond him nonetheless. Will pick up a single. He hits with a lot of power. Lendl Simmons. And for anyone watching the IPL, following the IPL, they know what havoc he can wreak when he wears the jersey blue. Towards the right of the fielder, good stop. You can see the shoulders are drooping right now of the Tigers. They've got to find a way to come back into the game.
Indeed, 13 runs left for the Silicon Valley Strikers to get, 135 for 2 through 16.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Maximum 13 runs necessary, and it's the last throw of the dice for the captain. It'll be Mitansh Nityanandam into the attack.
There's got to be brute force to finish this off from Lendl Simmons. He's not going to nerdle it around to try and pick up singles and twos. He's got to look for the bigger denominations. It is Mitansh Nityanandam. That's a clean strike, and the commentators will run for cover.
I got it.
Fantastic shot, and as clean as a whistle it gets.
I believe
Welcome, Mitansh.
I believe it took one bounce off the cement over here and over the fence that separates us from the adjoining field, so that may take some getting. Might be time to bring out the box of balls just to make sure that we can continue this onward here. Silicon Valley Strikers now just 6 runs shy of Chicago Tigers total, 7 runs shy of the ticket to Morrisville.
Runs required in single digits, and we almost could sense that Lendl Simmons has been sent in to not hang around, but finish it with a sledgehammer.
Been his specialty so far. No matter what he does, it's going to be his lowest score so far in minor league cricket, only because they're about to run out of deliveries and runs to get. But has come into this league with a flourish, a 48 on debut, retired just barely shy of a half century, got that half century yesterday, the 52, and even in the mid-30s, despite being retired a bit earlier than he would have liked in Game 2. Just a remarkable series we've had here. Silicon Valley coming in, and it appeared absolutely bossing around Chicago in Game 1, and then the remarkable response from the men in orange and black yesterday to force this one today. I think we've seen a lot of character out of a playoff debutant here.
No doubt about that. Chicago Tigers will have their head held high. He's gone for it again, and the ball's traveling. This wasn't even from the best part of the bat, but the power of the man that transfers into the shot. 2 sixes, and the scores are level. 1 run required, and they'll be on a plane to Morrisville. Silicon Valley Strikers. They've been absolutely clinical after winning the toss today.
And we got some travel agents to talk to here. The Bay Area, yet again, will be represented, it appears. One more run to get. An awful lot of deliveries left to get it.
The fielders close in to stop the single for a man who doesn't believe in that denomination anyway. He's looking for the big shot. He's looking to finish it in style. Mitansh steaming in. And Lendl Simmons ready to give it a big blow. And he does. Boy, does it travel. Once, twice. Will trickle into the fence. That is the winning hit indeed. Silicon Valley Strikers punch their ticket to Morrisville. And what a game of cricket it's been. And what an evening yesterday it was to bring it to this particular game.
Indeed, just a fantastic series. And Silicon Valley at the end of the day showing you their class, showing you their pedigree. This is a team, of course, that will be headed to Morrisville looking to defend that title from 2021. Last season, they had to go down to Austin. They had to win it as underdogs. They had to fight their way through a massive total put up by the Austin Athletics. And this time around, though, they do it as front runners and show their capacity just as well.
Well, it did come down to the wire in terms of Silicon Valley Strikers. If you talk about taking this game, taking this little series to the third game, Silicon Valley Strikers wanted to finish it off yesterday, but were met with extreme resistance as the Tigers pulled up a win. It all came down to the game that matters today, and Silicon Valley Strikers were absolutely clinical on the given day.
So we'll review the scorecard here. Unmukt Chand, an unbeaten 71 off 54. One of his higher scores this season. Shahan Jayasuriya getting right again, 27 off of his 20. Just about matching Rahul Jariwala run for run and ball for ball. Jariwala 27 for 21 in that 65-run opening partnership.
Yeah, handshakes all around. And that opening partnership, once again, laying the base for a very good run chase for Silicon Valley Strikers. Experienced triumphs, and the men who held their nerve, the men who tossed around their bed and didn't sleep last night because they wanted to bring their A game. Boy, did they bring their A game today. Convincing victory for Silicon Valley Strikers as they advance and squash the dreams of Chicago Tigers to go ahead in this tournament. But Chicago Tigers have been absolutely brilliant for the game of cricket and, of course, in this tournament as a side as well. Savage would be mighty pleased with his boys, perhaps not with today's performance, but when he looks at this journey as a whole, what a game, what a game that we've had today. I'm Suhas Vedam, joined by Joe, and we'll very shortly have the post-match presentation as well. We'll bring you some highlights meanwhile.
To start things off, he'll be bowling at the collection of cricket ball-shaped bruises known as Rahul Jariwala at the striker's end. First delivery elicits an appeal, but no finger up from the umpire. A dot ball to start.
Beautifully, the seam presentation is a treat to watch indeed. That's in the air, but will land beyond the inner circle. And will it have enough Sunoco to reach the fence? Almost does.
Coming in with a 21.4 average. Looking to get something done here in the power play, but that is straight up. Chance to settle under it, drifting back. It's bobbled and it's dropped. Rahul Jariwala will survive.
Oh, this is gone straight up in the air. Running backwards. It's not going to be an easy catch if he gets there, that is. It's going to travel for four.
Swivel and try to destroy the ball as opposed to take those. Although there's some swivel and destroy potentially. That has got just enough Sunoco to get under the hand of Sami Sahel. That one.
Can he do the same today? Deep Chand's first. Unmukt Chand gets the better of Deep Chand with that 6. That's gone through the gap. It will be 4. No stopping that. Unmukt Chand gets it in the gap and puts it away with perfection.
Never done it. Fair part of the reason why they're 14-2 this year.
Oh, no stopping this one as well. Everyone plays statue. Cheeky and at his best. The ball will travel. The second time Rahul Jariwala has peppered that region behind square, and the second time he's getting into a good position, getting the boundary. This one even better. No stopping Rahul Jariwala today. He's walked out with a big reason. And he's sending the ball sailing over the fence. Strikers is the fact. Oh, this could be 4 more. This is traveling too. Getting into a good position. And once again flicking it behind square.
In his 4 overs.
That's in the gap as well. And good stop. Oh, one-handed stop that was heading to the fence. He's thrown it wide and tempted Jariwala to go for the big shot again. The ball is swerving, but that catch is taken.
77 runs needed from 11 remaining overs.
Dancing down the track and targeting the right region of the ground as well. You draw a straight line, it can't get any straighter of the Silicon Valley strikers. Unmukt Chand with a short arm jab. Boy, does the ball travel. Dafa new shot of the day.
Yesterday, just shy of a 50 in game 2, and a great contribution in game 1 as well. And this one splits the fielder just past the hands.
We'll keep it down to a single. Unmukt Chand striking the ball better and reversing gear. 50 up for the man who stood there like a rock. Captain Unmukt Chand delivers come the big time.
And a very steady build-up in game 2, and today does finally achieve the milestone. Shahan Jayasuriya. Dafa take note. That was absolutely spanked through the onside.
Very, very close to the 3 sticks. Didn't bounce as much as Unmukt expected.
Have been on hat tricks, and the wickets have fallen in bunches for Dallas. That one in the air for a moment, but just barely wide.
To be brought in. Unmukt Chand as well brings out the variations that he has in mind. That's high, and that's handsome. Shahan Jayasuriya has had enough. Fielders in the deep, kept them in conundrum. Should be trouble. Big appeal. There was something on it. The fingers eventually gone up. On them. That's a clean strike, and the commentators will run for cover. Have their head held high. Has gone for it again, and the ball's traveling. This wasn't even from the best part of the bat, but the power of the man. Simmons ready to give it a big blow. And he does. Boy, does it travel. Once, twice. Will trickle into the fence. That is the winning hit indeed. Silicon Valley striker.
quarterfinals after playing 3 back-to-back matches, and we have one clear winner. Silicon Valley Strikers have proved it time and again that they are here to stay and are willing to lift the cup once again. On the other hand, Chicago Tigers is one team that gave Silicon Valley Strikers a tough fight in this whole season. But I'll call the captain, Calvin Savage, who did extremely well in all the 3 matches in the quarterfinals. Hey Calvin, it was hard luck today. Both of you were really, really good. Give us a little insight about today's game.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. Obviously, you never want to lose when you come that close. To be able to go through those opportunities don't come by very often. I don't think we played our best game, which is disappointing. But I'm proud of my team. I don't think anyone in the country expected us to turn up and to go as far as we did and to play the brand of cricket we did. So I'm very proud of my team. So we'll go back and just fine-tune a few points that I think were poor throughout the season, and we can only be better next year. So I look forward to it.
What do you think about the competition in this league this season?
Yeah, I've loved it. It's my first year, yeah. I've been very impressed with, because I know Chicago struggled a hell of a lot last year, and how my boys have stood up. I'm very proud of them. And the tournament's been awesome. Coming from South Africa, I had no idea what cricket in the US would be like, and it's been surprisingly really, really great. Some really talented youngsters, and obviously some international stars, which just culminates to a great tournament. So no, I've really enjoyed it. I've had some good fun.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you here, Calvin. All the best for next season.
Thank you.
Now I'll call upon the man who plays very well under pressure, played the captain's knock today, and is rightly called a big match player. I'll call Unmukh Chand, who made his team's way through the Pacific Conference Finals. Hey Unmukh, give us a little insight about today's game.
Well, yesterday really charged us up. I think we made sure that we don't repeat the same mistakes. I think it was again something very similar to what happened yesterday. Today we just wanted to finish it off in style, make sure that we don't take it too deep down. And I think it was a very good execution in a bowling department. The last over, Kulwinder bowled was very good. And then obviously I think we batted really well. And it was a clinical win.
Now, everyone wants to know that we all have seen you outside the field as a very calm, composed person. But today on the field, we saw a very aggressive side of yours. Tell us about that.
Well, I think I like to play the game in a very aggressive way. The intensity has to be there, and that is what I always believe in. And I make sure that we sort of all we play with that intensity. I think sometimes when the intensity is up, you play the game well because you're not thinking, and you really want to actually do well, and you play with your heart. So that's what I try to do, and I think such games really bring out the best in me, touch wood. So would really like to carry like this in the next 2 games as well.
Great. A very big congratulations to you and your team. North Carolina is waiting for you.
Thank you so much. We'll be coming North Carolina very soon and really excited about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This was quarterfinals for you today. We are waiting for the semi-finals and the finals in North Carolina next weekend. Thank you. Thank you. How was it?
Yeah, it was good.
Good job. You're all getting up.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.